Hey everyone,
You're not live.
I am
Oh,
live
you're live?
now.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Hey everyone, what's up? Yeah, we were just having a private chat amongst ourselves.
We're talking about how awesome Lisa. We're talking about how awesome Lisa is.
Yes, she is awesome. So, all right, so it's been a while since I've done one of these tech talks, so I got to get back up to my normal. I'm a little confused with what's going on, but how is everyone doing? In here we have DMs Reef, we have Billy Pipes, and we have Reef G's, and we have my son who there's school tomorrow, so you need to go to bed. All right. So good night. No. You can watch it on your phone, but it's almost bedtime. All right. It's almost bedtime. All right. All right. So how's everyone doing? Billy. Let's start with
Yes.
Billy. Billy, how are you doing, man?
Um, better than no, better than pretty good, pretty good, pretty good.
Pretty
Better.
good. You want to give us? I know we were talking off air, but can you give us like a just a teensy weensy, if you can, update on what's going on with the tank?
I will actually show you.
Here.
Let me put the gel filter on, I guess. Hold on. And I will show you what I've been up to.
What's up, TMG? How you doing, man?
What's bracking? I'm chilling, man.
Chilling.
Chilling here at Trabajo. That's work in Spanish for all who don't know Spanish.
All right, Billy, I'm presenting you to everyone.
Such a nice gel filter.
I know, right?
You using the
Right now,
Polyp
I just,
Lab?
I just, I just took the filter off.
No, no.
Let's see here.
Was that the Polyp Lab gel filter?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have one. I really like it, dude. It's like,
Yep.
dude, I sold like some coral within like 2 hours just because of it. The pictures I was able to take. It's ridiculous. With the macro lines. It's insane.
Hey, Billy. Reef Keeper says Billy Pipes is equal to drama queen. Look at that tank. It looks better than ever. Billy, I don't see anything different. Like, what's going on? Like, it.
Different. It's new sand. Every single piece of rock is new. I have probably 30 new frags in here.
It's oh my
Yeah,
god, Billy! Billy, you didn't cycle your tank.
yeah, Billy. Like,
Yeah, I
that is.
cycled it. I got Marine Pure that's been cycling for a year and Aquavitro Seed. Aquavitro Seed, you can add coral and fish this very first day with no anything. That's what I've been doing for 4 years and I've never lost a coral or a fish.
Is it any different from Dr. Tim's?
I've never used Dr. Tim's.
Trader.
I've never ever used any of their stuff. But yeah,
Gotcha.
so I have um, one, two, three, four. There's like 15 new frags on this side. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. New on this side. I did lose all my encrusting corals. They all died. I
Yeah.
lost. I lost a bunch of acans. I lost Duncan.
Wait,
Uh,
how's Bob?
well, here's a regular coral. Here's a regular acan.
Yeah.
He ain't doing too bad today.
That's Bob.
That's Bob.
That's all that's
Oh
left of
my
Bob.
god. Bob looked like he's in a lot of cold water right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's usually covering that entire plug, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I meant to ask you. By chance, is Bob a Japanese big head micromusa?
I wouldn't doubt it if it's Japanese because the guy got it from he orders from wherever.
Yeah,
So
that's interesting. Yo, cut up Bob for me. Let me get one head of Bob, man. I need that.
$400.
For one head, bro?
That's how much people were willing to give me at Reefapalooza.
All right, I'll trade. I'll trade you a $500 SPS
No.
because that's how much I'm willing to pay for it.
Here, oh, you see this one?
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if I'm going to keep that one.
wow, that's nice. I have something very similar.
There you
The
go. That's
dark,
probably
call
a
it
good shot
Dark
of it.
Knight.
Right?
Billy, I see more SPS in this tank than you had. Like I know
Yo, for
the
real?
last.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a lot more SPS. All right.
Well, this rock work is the design of it. It gives you all these stub outs. I have a lot more than I ever had. I mean, I got a bunch from Dave. I actually got some from Jason Fox on Saturday.
What?
Ooh,
Well,
ooh.
I
Let me
know.
let me see let me see them Jason Fox pieces.
all right.
What you got from Jason Fox?
Let me get the floater, the floaty.
Yo, Billy's like fully equipped for a live stream.
I know. I mean,
He's like,
I don't have any Jason Fox frags. Do you have any Jason Fox frags, TMG?
one. No, I'm lying. I have a worldwide coral frag, and that's it.
A filter for this. My camera never works well in a stream with a filter, but we'll give it a shot here.
Yeah, no, it's fine, Billy.
I can't even see it. Hold on.
I
There
can. That's a Montipora?
No, it's the Enchanted Forest Bird's Nest.
Okay, nice.
It's like a really bright freaking yellow, but
Yeah.
can't really tell at the moment.
What do you have on the 15K or the 10K?
The 15.
Oh, it looks different on the T5s versus LEDs. LEDs is not as orange with the 15K.
Let's see.
What is that, Setosa?
Is that any better?
Yeah, kind of. It's just darker. Not that. Personally, I like this one better.
But just the LEDs.
Reef
Okay.
Keeper said something in the chat, and he said he got a few things from Jason Fox. He can't say he's impressed. They're small and doing crappy in his tank compared to all his other coral. And
Did he get them online?
I just have to say that Paul and Woody said the same thing. Like when they came over and they went to WWC and Jason Fox. Like I think they said the same thing. It could be the coral. It could be that he didn't bring his best stuff to MACNA, but I think they were sort of saying like, "Hey, this stuff is expensive," and they weren't impressed.
Gotcha.
I'm just basically forwarding what they said.
I'm pretty much like with them. Thing is, a lot of people don't see corals. Like be honest. Like there's a lot of hobbyists that never see somebody else's tank. To be honest, so to like compare it when you compare it to the stuff you have at home, it's more like, oh my god, it's so amazing. Versus when you're like used to seeing amazing stuff, you're just like, okay, cool. Like, oh my
Bob.
god, look at Bob.
Yeah, he looks bad, right?
He's
Come here, let me give Bob a kiss.
But when I went to a Worldwide Coral store, though, like I left feeling impressed.
Yeah.
Seeing the stuff up close, like I left feeling impressed. I think the next time I see Jason Fox stuff at Palooza or a local swap, I have to go and pay more attention to it. I never buy stuff off. I rarely buy stuff offline. So, yeah, it's just that I'm just saying that because I've been hearing a lot of that over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Um,
No,
I'm not going.
it's
I'm not
more
going
of
to put Billy on the spot and ask him since he was there and he got
no,
to
it's
do
more
the
of what
stuff.
I think it's more of what you're used to. Billy, what do you like? I'll ask him if that's cool. What do you think of like vendors like Worldwide Coral, Jason Fox, when you see their stuff in person? And this is like honestly not taking anything away from them, but see them in person. Like, do they actually live up to the hype?
Well, this is my second Jason Fox. Well, the first one I ever got from him, I wasn't ready for what I got from him. You know, it was just one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm ready for what, this little bird's nest here, I guess I could make a judgment on that. Give it like 2 or 3 weeks. See what the coral looks like after.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you what, in the past year and a half, I always tell people dip, 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 dip. Like, even if it's your dad's corals,
Yeah.
This is the first coral this is the first coral I did not dip in the past year and a half.
Yeah.
Because you trust Jason Fox?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, but I mean that's what you're really paying for. You're paying
Yeah.
for somebody they
Like-
quarantine
Yeah.
stuff for a year. Like,
Like, he's got
you're really not paying
Yeah.
for like the color, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I definitely don't like having to pay for a name,
yeah.
Like, I
But
recently
you're really
just
not paying for the name. Like, you're paying for the methodology implemented, and then the name is just like slapped on, saying like, you know what I'm saying, like, this is kosher. Like, you know what I'm saying, when something is like kosher, you're paying for like how the meat was prepared. So like when something is like Jason Fox, you're paying for like how that coral was prepared. Like, for a fact that thing's probably been dipped at least like 12 times in a year, and it's like never been around fishes and like et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You're not. People think you're paying for like the color. Like, it's how
I've heard a lot of people say that they've gotten his coral and it changed colors like really fast.
Yeah.
And the only reason I'm like, I'm going to start giving his stuff more of a shot is because me and him use the same exact bulbs.
All right.
It's Reef Bright and T5s.
Yeah.
And he has the same. His schedule and my schedule are like only a half hour different.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful that just that, will help.
Be enough. Nice.
Yeah.
When I went to WWC in Florida, like, I was impressed by the pricing, to be honest. Like, I expected, like, in the store, you can actually find corals cheaper. In fact, they had like a rack that was like $5 to $10, but they don't ship that
Say
stuff.
word?
Yeah, they don't ship that stuff because I guess they have like a 2-week guarantee on corals, and it doesn't make sense to guarantee 2 weeks like a $5 frag.
Yeah.
Because when I placed the order in store, then I went on eBay. I sent a few people the receipts because I didn't want to. But one of the things with Worldwide Coral, if you go into the store and you're buying a lot of stuff, like, you bring it to the counter. I'm not this type. My wife did it actually, because I'm not the person who's gonna go like, hey, what's your best price on this? Like, I just pay the price that I see. If I don't want it, I don't buy it. But my wife was like, what's the best price you can do on this? And she actually got good discounts.
Man, your wife is an MVP, man.
Yeah, so I actually impressed with the store. Well, for a couple of reasons. First, the store was nice and clean. They had nice corals. And then I was just surprised how little light they actually use on their tanks and how high over their tanks they run their lights, like 2 feet over, and they weren't running like crazy lights.
Percentages, right?
Yeah, crazy percentage. They weren't running crazy percentages.
So
that's exactly why I always say don't try to copy.
How high do they run their LED? Do they run them at 100%? But
no, you know that Casper tank that's so famous. Like, you've seen a lot of videos.
Yeah,
I have some shot of it. I'll take a video eventually. That light is almost 2 feet over. Like, that Casper's tank, which is 40 inches deep. I think
40 inches deep.
40 inches deep. It's one of the best dimensions I've ever seen on a reef tank. Like, it's 40 inches deep,
You
I
mean
think
front to back?
front to back,
Okay.
like about 5 feet, 5 or 6 feet long. I don't remember how high, but they have 6 XR15s over a 4 or 6. I think it's 4 XR15s, and it's like 2 feet over the tank. And they weren't running them at 100%, and they were running. You've seen that tank?
They were running them at 100%.
Absolutely not. They're running AB plus, and they were running them about 60 or 70%.
That's interesting.
But Worldwide Corals places a lot of emphasis on flow. They had like maybe 4 MP40s and 2 MP10s on that tank.
Jeez.
So
no sand though, right?
No sand.
Wait, did they have burrowing wrasses?
You know what? I have to watch this. I don't know. I don't know. I'm guessing not if they don't have sand.
Really, really, really want to do bare bottom, but dude,
I'll tell you what.
Melanaris and checkered wrasses.
Just from moving these tanks recently, I had the 75 upstairs had bare bottom for like 3 weeks because I was changing the sand.
Yeah,
and the corals were bigger than ever. And when I had the downstairs tank, I noticed again bigger than ever. Like the A cans were just spread out all over the tank. The Euphilia, it just helps so much with the flow, I think.
Yeah, because like a lot of people, this is a terminology I hate. Oh, sand makes a tank look natural. Ain't nothing natural about sand. Sand is
sure it is. It comes right from the ocean. They don't make it.
Yeah, the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, it's natural.
Man, these corals is on cliffs and ledge. They ain't at
natural,
the bottom of the ocean. Listen,
I like
they ain't at no bottom of the ocean. Ain't no acro growing at the bottom of the ocean.
I like the look of sand. I just like the look of sand. I hear what you're saying, TMG.
Yeah.
I like the look of sand. I like wrasses. So I like boring wrasses. So I want to have sand. But guess what? After seeing Worldwide Corals tanks, I'm intrigued by the possibility of bare bottom.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would ever do it.
Yeah. So like with the frag tank I'm doing right now, it's gonna be bare bottom. And on top of that, what's it called? Somebody offered to give me LEDs. I was gonna go T5s. And then I started I'm just like laying in bed and I'm thinking like I was watching a video with like Worldwide Corals and I realized how high their T5s are. And I really, really think that is how you should utilize T5s because LEDs, because like the further up you make a light source, the more diffuse the light. Like, so if you have like 2 lights, like think about like car headlights, right? When you have a car headlight and you pull up in your driveway and they hit your garage, you could distinctly see the 2 individual headlights. But when you're really, really far, they blend in together. And I think that is a really, really key point to LEDs. Even the mounts that the factory gives you, they're way too close to the tank. And I think in order to properly diffuse LEDs, they need to be at those 2 feet heights. You know what I mean? They need to be that high over the tank to properly allow the light, the distance to travel, to be blended properly.
I know my LFS, all of his radians.
Yeah.
He's got all what are they? G4 Pro XR15 over his coral tanks. Now they're shallow tanks, so they're only whatever it is, 12 inches deep.
Yeah.
But all of his XR15s are 3 to 4 feet above the tanks.
Yeah.
That big tank has Worldwide Corals at the front. The T5s are probably like I'm Greg Carroll. I don't know if he'll jump on later, but when I told him I was going, when I left Worldwide Corals, and he said to me, did you notice how high over the tank they have the lights? Like there is a 12-foot or something like an 8 or 12-foot tank in the front of the store. And literally they have 2 T5 bulbs. And I think the lights are like 3 feet over the tank. One T5 at the front, one at the back, and then radions. And a radion, like an XR30, covers like maybe 2.5, 3 feet. And the lights are like 3. And I said, are you running those at 100%? He said, no, we're not. Like he said, I don't have time now to pull up the schedule, but we're not running them anywhere close to 100%. But you know what, with all their tanks? Flow. I just think they place so much emphasis on flow versus like I think versus what I'm doing. Oh, I'm blasting my stuff with light versus what they're doing. I think I have more light on this tank here than they do over Casper's tank. And again, that's like a 5 or 6 foot long tank, and it's 40 inches deep.
See, and that's what you would think. Because of the height, they have probably more usable light than you have, because you probably have a coral that's only getting a red LED shot down on it and only a green LED shot down on it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And a little bit of blue LED that's hitting it. Versus them, the LEDs are so high up, it's really blending. Like, you know what I mean? Like the whole diffusers, like slow light down. Not necessarily slow light down, but like it impedes light and like blends it and all that stuff. And that's the same thing that air does. Like, you know what I mean? Air will diffuse light. And shit, I lost train of thought. But you're not going to really lose as much par through air as you do through water. You know what I'm saying? So like raising the light up, you're really not losing as much par because it's not really traveling through too much water.
I think that's why these diffusers from Ecotec have been popular recently, because that's one of the things where it blends and it diffuses light. But I turned my LED down slowly when I came back, because I just realized like I was blasting my stuff with light.
Yeah. How much par were you hitting them with?
Excuse me. I don't remember, but I was at the top of the tank, maybe 300, 350.
What? That's it? Yo, Seymour, remember when you shipped me your Senai?
Yeah.
At the very, very top of my first acro colony, my PC Rainbow was getting hit with 750 par.
If you can acclimate it to, have you looked at also sand? Like when sand is, those places, like when you're watching, like I'm a part of, like I watch some videos on Ecotec of the companies that are using their lights in like the grow facilities. Mm-hmm. They have the lights like, for the guys to be able to work over the coral tanks, they're like 3-4 feet over the tank.
Yeah.
So even if they're running them at 100%, they're like 4 feet over where the tank starts. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure it's not getting a lot of par.
No, I think they still are though. That's what I'm saying. The par doesn't really. You don't really lose par till it hits water. Water's what really, really diminishes the par. You know what I mean? Because the light has to go through such a dense object. You know what I mean? Like going from I was at about 750 at the top of my PC Rainbow, and by the sand bed I was about 250, 300. You know, so I'm losing. I was losing about 400 par within 12 inches. You know what I mean? Water really sucks the hell out of par.
You also have an SPS dominant tank, which, you're growing mostly SPS. So I think you can acclimate we have a mixed reef. Like literally, I probably have frog spawn on the same level that I have at some SPS. So I think I gotta be. Yeah, you have so you can put those in and acclimate them over the course of a couple weeks to the really high par. Plus, you probably.
Though.
You know what? It works for you. Like you have an SPS. Well, this is not from Worldwide Corals, but from just even what Alex is doing. I just think with the 2 separate tanks, I think sometimes if you were running a mixed reef is hard because you're trying to like I have frog spawn on one side of the tank that's at the same level as SPS on the other side. So I think sometimes if you have a tank designed around, let's say, softies, that's so easy to do because it's one type of coral and you know what you're doing, versus SPS. Like if I'm doing an SPS dominant tank, it's no sand bed. I'm blasting that thing with flow. It's highlight calcium reactor, and it'll probably be so easy, to take care of. Because
do you think flow helps them to grow or to just keep them alive?
I don't know the answer to that, but based on what I've seen at Worldwide Corals, I'm definitely putting more power heads on my tank.
Nah, I definitely could tell you flow helps them to grow, because they do this weird and this is from my limited experience in the game. I don't want anybody to take what I say like as gospel or anything. But what I've noticed with certain acroporas and milliporas is once they don't strip, that flow it forces them to branch. You know what I'm saying? Versus just keep going vertical. So you would have like an acro that just grows, and you're just like, it just keeps growing vertically. And then you would have another one that's in a very high flow. It grows wider. And what I think it does is trying to capture that flow, not necessarily because they like that flow. It's really just that that's probably their way of slowing down the flow, if you know what I'm saying, or just making the best use of the flow, like creating surface areas so they could catch food particles. I think that's really what it is. Because like I have 2 PC rainbows. Like so somebody sold me a Fox Flame and it turned out to be a PC rainbow, and they look nothing. I don't know what I was thinking. I just got conned. But one PC rainbow is not in direct flow, and it grows. The 2 stalks grow vertical. I have another PC rainbow that's in direct flow, and that stalk branches like nobody's business. It doesn't grow vertical; it just grows branches and branches and branches. You know.
I was looking at one of those old Mike Paletta videos on American Reef Channel. Yeah. And I think in one instance, I remember him saying something along the lines of, put a power head on the front of the tank. And the guy was like, why did you do that? And he said, because I want the corals to grow towards the flow. So I'm putting it there for them to, because I want them, like he put the corals in the back of the tank, but he said, I want them to grow towards the flow. So he put the power head on the front of the tank for them to grow towards the flow. Yeah. And listen, I'm not an SPS. I don't know enough about this stuff, but just anecdotal evidence from seeing that in person and just noticing how much flow they ran on their tanks, and then hearing little bits from like Mike Paletta and stuff. I'm thinking, I'm not going to say it's more important than light, but I think it's something that probably just as important, or definitely something I'm going to pay way more attention to than I've been giving it in the past.
You know, a funny thing, like you're saying, it may not be more important than light.
That's just my way of copping out, meaning like
I don't want to. No. It's not that I don't disagree by any chance, but here's just like put what I said with how the corals grow differently. Like they grow with the high flow, they branch out more. If you're branching out more, you're creating more surface area. If you have more surface area, you utilize light a lot better. Think of like leaves, like you know what I'm saying, like a tree. You know what I mean? The more leaves you have, the better it does in like shade. Like, you know what I mean? So because it can absorb more light and whatnot. So I think flow aids corals like SPS in not necessarily needing as much light as a colony. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like creating so much more surface area. Have you ever seen a wild Montipora versus a captive Montipora, or like a low flow tank? Like my Montipora is kept with the euphyllias. My Montipora is like paper thin. Now, one of my friends from the LFS I met through the LFS, his Montipora looks like a wild Montipora. It is like, I'm not even kidding you. Where's my camera? It's probably like this thick.
That's probably the ones you have to chisel off if you're breaking it, right?
Dude, it's ridiculous. And it's the same Monty Cap. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous of just like how it almost looks like a different coral. Yeah, like I'm like, I would sell that like as some like Jason Fox Monty Cap. You know, Billy, have you ever noticed that?
What's that?
How like you would have a Monty Cap and one that comes from the wild. I'm pretty sure you've seen a lot of wild colonies come in. A wild Monty Cap looks completely different than like a mixed reef Monty Cap.
Oh yeah,
it's like completely different.
You can stand on it.
It's ridiculous. It's like concrete. It's like a slab. But and that's the thing. I just think that corals, they're as much as their end game is food. You know what I'm saying? So flow will dictate like how they grow to receive food. You know what I mean? So the more flow, they know they could capture stuff at night. And during the day, they know that, like, all right, the wider I grow, then the more sunlight I'll be able to get, you know?
Now here's a question for you, Seymour. Now that you've been running your, well, I believe you're still running your hybrid, right?
Yeah.
Are you gonna always stay with T5s, or could you ever just go LED only again?
I think I'll stick with T5. One, I think it's more cost effective because I don't think I have to get like a whole bunch of lights or put them so high over the tank to like for full coverage. And I like T5 that it fills in the shadows. And I just think I just get away with, I don't know, I just feel like I get away spectrum wise. I don't have to worry too much about spectrum when you have T5s. I'm a T5 fan forever.
All right.
Yeah,
Billy likes to hear that.
This cheap T5 fixture from cheap, low cost. I think it was a good product because it allowed me to test T5s. Like if I had to buy one of those Giesman or so fixtures to like try out T5s, I wouldn't have. And I like it. And I'm coming up on my first bulb change in November, Billy, and I'm going to be experimenting with a bunch of different colors, like a couple of different colors. So
don't change all four bulbs at once.
All right.
Just 2 at a time, and then give it like 3-4 weeks, and then change the other 2. Because if you change all 4, it's like going from 60% to 90% on your LEDs.
Hey, what's up, Cruz? Hey, Alex, how you doing, Alex? Let me just say hi to Alex. And DM, I know you had an Apex question, DM. Do you want to ask it now, or did he take a break? I think he took a break. Hey, what's up, Alex?
Yeah, I heard my name on the other side of the room.
I saw some algae stuff there. What were we looking at?
What, this?
No, you had like a bucket of, like, it looked like you had some green stuff in a...
Oh, well, there was green stuff in there. That you're talking about this little disc here.
Yeah, what was that?
That's from my whiteworm culture, so I was catching some whiteworms for the fish's dinner.
White
worms?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I heard black worms.
You don't like black worms. I
raised whiteworms.
What about Latin worms?
What are the what's the difference between like white worms and black worms?
Careful there, Alex. TMG's here.
Oh my god.
Okay, well, I think we can hopefully get beyond that type of conversation.
Man.
Basically, a white worm is it's like a tiny little earthworm is all it is. So they're terrestrial based, not water. So unlike true black worms that they gotta be raised in rather cool water. These guys just need some soil and some water, and like the basement floor is like a nice temp for them, kind of in the 60s. And then I feed them spirulina flake. So they're like ridiculously easy, and you could buy a quick culture of them, but they're, I just put some food in there the other day, and come on, camera. So they kind of ball up when they go in the water. They could live for a couple of hours in salt water, even where blackworms just kind of die instantly.
And what are you feeding them to?
They're feeding the fish with them.
Just all the entire tank?
Why don't you just get frozen food and drop a cube in and call it a day?
Because he has like 2,000 gallons.
There's a couple reasons why. The one thing, and if anybody's on Reef to Reef, there's a guy there called Paul B, and he's had his tank running for over 40 years, and he swears by live foods, and he catches live amphipods, he grows live whiteworms, because a lot of what he talks about with fish is, we feed them frozen foods and they don't have live bacteria in them. So he likes to feed live food because it's giving fish the opportunity to eat live bacteria in their gut and help fortify their immune system.
Who cares about the fish when you have corals?
Paul B is from Long Island. He's a New Yorker. So, yeah, he goes on, I think he walks out to you know, like on the Long Island Sound, and like collects like blackworms and amphipods and stuff like that. So he's the one that also created that pod breeder, right? Alex?
I don't know if he had a pod breeder. Oh, I know he's got a feeder for his mandarins.
Yes, that's what it is.
Okay.
Yo, Seymour,
No,
can you link that, please? Because I'm always interested in like automated foods and stuff like that.
It's not well, you know what? If you go on
Man, with
Reef
an
to
Apex dose, I'm pretty sure you can automate it.
or Manhattan Reefs, he's there. He is. You just search for Paul B, and he's there. He updates his thread. Like his thread is like probably 1,000 pages long.
That's ridiculous.
I
I
was
hate
gonna say,
threads like that.
he just moved his tank, and I think it's like I'm moving my tank after 40 some years. And
Is it all softies?
what, his tanks or?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, because
I don't remember
I'm
what
very
he's got
prejudiced against,
coral wise.
like, softy.
I know he's got a lot of gorgonians and such. I mean,
Yeah.
I keep a mix. I got mostly fish in my big tank with just a few corals right now, and then everything else is in here.
Stop. Go back.
I think if you search for Paul B Reef Tank in Google, you'll
go
find
back to what?
The Tonga branches.
Ah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Seymour. Look at that. Oh.
Yeah, I like Tonga.
I'm getting excited. Let me stop.
Mute him, O. Before you get demonetized.
You guys are talking about me being inappropriate.
He was just about to. How are the tanks doing though, Alex?
Oh, not too bad. There are a couple minor things. I mean, I got a little cyano, but you know, I've been letting some TDS creep in, so I don't really care that much about it. Most of the corals are doing good. I had a couple that have been kind of not doing great, but in the big scheme of things, I'm not that concerned, considering that, I don't know, there's like 100 pieces of coral in here now, so if like a half dozen of them aren't doing great, I'm not that concerned.
You have 100 pieces? Wow.
I would say I'm probably in that neighborhood now. The acros, most of the acros aren't doing too bad. There's a couple which are kind of screwy. I mean, I know I got red bugs in here, and some colonies just don't care at all, and others are just kind of, they kind of go in cycles of annoyance to not doing as good. So I'm just I'm kind of going survival of the fittest here at the moment.
Now, are you going to do anything for the red bugs, or are you just going to just
I got a dragonface pipefish in here, so
gotcha.
And between them and the damsels, although this is a smorgasbord of pods for everything in this tank. So
my damsels never did anything for red bugs. They could care less. Look at them pods. Hey, you got roaches on your glass.
Oh, this doesn't look like anything. You should see it at night.
Are those pods? They're huge.
No, that's an empty tank, and those are maggots.
No, they look like maggots. They do
look like.
So these are simple amphipods, and then let's see. Oh yeah, I see a bunch. I think I see a bunch, and then there's a lot of mysid shrimp swimming around down here.
You have mysid shrimp just growing?
Oh yeah, the mysid shrimp they'll self-populate once they get in.
Wait, mysis or mysid?
Mysid.
What's the difference?
Now there's a whole bunch of different species that each. The mysid shrimps are just a little smaller. Generally, they come in with live rock.
How do I get some?
Get a little piece of live rock.
Man, dude, I've nuked my tank so many times. Like, not nuked it, but I've treated it for red bugs like twice. And you already know that really kills a lot of fauna. So,
yeah,
like, dude, I don't see. I was just gonna tell you to do that, but seeing this display fuge, I don't want you to treat your tank.
Do you guys dip your coral?
I don't.
I do.
What do you use to dip?
Generally I use Bear, but you know, things happen, things get by.
What
I think with red bugs, it's the eggs, man.
I kind of look at it this way. I'm not going to get that concerned about it because the steps that would be needed for that to be completely eradicated is going to kill too much stuff that I benefit from. So
you just
Is that a big ass
land.
urchin right there? Oh, yeah.
I got a few of them. Yeah, that one right there. Yeah, there's that guy crawling around there with a dead acro on him. Something that died a while ago.
I thought that was the acro.
No, I got that one little colony that's come up from a frag good, and then the Banzai's been kicking butt pretty good, and I got a few others here that are starting to kick. I finally got a Bally Slimer, which I basically got it because I know they grow like a weed.
Yeah.
Oh, man, the two that you just mentioned, those have based out completely over the rock. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, let me go top down here.
Were they wild?
No, they were just frags. Let me see if I can do this without. Yep.
Man, you and Billy are like ready for like top down. Look at this. Look at this.
Look at that. Look at that.
What is that?
Wow.
I accidentally broke it once, so I put a little piece there, and I put a little piece down there, and they both just been encrusting like crazy.
What is it?
It's like I think they call it a purple Banzai or a Tyree Banzai or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, because I'm like, that's not a Garf. That's really nice.
Yeah, it's just got this really nice purple color. You know, I don't have a gel filter on, and then I got this guy, which I grew out from just like a little tiny frag, and that one's been growing out pretty nice too.
Have the red bugs been on that one?
No, it's funny. So this piece right here is kind of getting chewed on a little bit, which is funny because it wasn't before. But I don't know. This guy doesn't seem to like the really high light quite as much.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even have my lights up. I just cranked them up 3% more in intensity, so they're only at 75%. And I only change it every few weeks and let it go real slow.
Yeah.
But you know, the stylos are jamming.
Is that a Pokeball?
Say it again.
Is that a Pokeball?
Right next to the stylo.
Look right next to the stylo.
Yeah.
Oh, this one that's what the heck is that?
No. There's a red and white thing that looks like a Pokemon ball.
Oh, that red thing?
Yeah.
That's a Cherry Coral's Cherry Bomb stylo.
A Pokeball. TMG.
Tell me you don't see that. Tell me it doesn't look like a Pokeball.
Man.
Right where the damsel is. Dude, like that red and white thing right next to the purple stylo. Like up, like... Yeah, I can't be...
Are you talking about that?
Yeah, that.
Yeah, that's a Cherry Bomb stylophora.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
No, we new name Pokeball Coral.
Yo, people are probably like laughing at me right now.
Yeah. A Pokeball. Like I didn't understand what he was saying. It's like Pokeball.
Yeah.
Yeah, this other one that's kind of encrusting over right here is actually a tiny piece of... Jeez, I can't even move the camera off. This little one that's over to the right, the colony, before it encrusted the rock, it actually snapped off a piece that was like a 1/4 inch. And I was like, I don't want to... I'll glue it to a rock, see what happens. And the little thing's been growing like a weed. So...
Look at that.
Dude, your tank looks like so completely different than I saw last time. This joint is sick. I love what you did with the Tonga branches, to be honest. Like, you don't really see a lot of Tonga branch scapes anymore.
Well, I did this because, like, you know, you guys were talking about flow and stuff and how important it is. And, like, I decided that SPS side of this tank, I would make it really open so that as the colonies grow in, there'll be more flow I could put underneath them and more power heads I could add to the sides because I only have 2 power heads in the return in this tank right now.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, it's looking nice, man. Looking real nice. That coral right there is looking real nice.
This guy's funny. This one's just been moving its one branch out towards the light because it's kind of underneath the...
Is that a blue stag?
Sure, if you want to call it that. I don't know.
Those are nice.
It's a reverse Pokeball.
Shut up.
It was the $20 special at the LFS, so I said, okay.
Hey, Alex, we got a question for you. Did you run into macrofauna issues with those sand-sifted scars?
No, they've all been doing fine. I mean, you got to remember, there's 32 square feet of sand in this tank. So, yeah, the Setosa here, that was just a little frag, and then this sunset Montipora, I don't know what was going on with it. Little pieces of it kind of died off on the surface for some reason, but it's been doing all right. Was a bubblegum digi. That one I just got a few weeks ago. That one's doing pretty good.
Is that a small frag of bubblegum digi in the center there?
Yeah, the one in the center is bubblegum, and then this other one's forest fire.
Okay.
And then let's see. I don't know. This Montipora was doing good, but I think the clownfish might have started screwing with it over here. Little worldwide coral, rainbow monty. I can't see it because it's too far away from me, but that's my blue squamosa and then my two Durasas.
We have a question here. Let me just answer it. Someone said, anyone use CChem matrix or denitrate?
Denitrating?
CChem matrix.
I threw some into my little 40 breeder, but I don't really consider it something for denitrification.
Okay, I just did a search, CChem nitrate, and I saw a Billy Pipes video from 2017. What do you think about that? Oh, Billy's not here, he left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah.
What is it? Is it liquid?
I guess it removes ammonia, nitrate, and a few things. Here's a video from Billy Pipes from 2 years ago. So I haven't watched that video, but Billy's usually very thorough in his reviews.
I thought the matrix was like the little stones.
Yeah, the matrix is like live rock replacement.
It says, you can remove ammonia. On the bottle that I'm looking at, it says remove control ammonia, nitrite, and nitrate. Doesn't say how.
Well, it's just little porous stones, so it's basically a bacteria bed.
Ooh. Hey, DM's Reef. I know from the start you said you had an Apex question. You want to go ahead and shoot that quickly now?
Yeah. I just bought the EL. Wondering what is the best way to incorporate my Ecotec? Should I leave it on the Reef link and still incorporate it into the bar, or what's the best way of going about incorporating my M1 pumps and my Ecotec MP40s into the system? A lot of people are telling me just to leave it on the Reef link.
Do you have enough? First, the M1. Do you have enough plug bars? Do you have enough slots to plug everything in individually?
It's brand new. I haven't even set it. I just hung it, and I still have all my plugins still here. I just don't know which plugins. I don't know how to go about it yet. So I haven't plugged in anything into the Apex yet. Like I said, I just bought it yesterday. I'm kind of doing my own little display, and I'm trying to figure things out, what modules to buy. I did buy the probe holder too today, obviously, because I only get the 2. And if I wanted to do the salinity and ORP, I would have to go with the PM1 and 2.
Yeah.
But I'm not really worried about that. I'm just wondering if I do have some JBOs in my tank, so I wanted to buy like that little module so I could incorporate that into this and then run. And I got 2 M1s, and then I got 3 Ecotec MP40s.
So the M1s. So let me try to start. So the M1s, the WXM module can't control those. It can't. Like it doesn't control it. So if you're thinking of getting the WXM to control everything, that won't work. It will work with the Vortex pumps. It won't work with the M1. Here's what I keep everything on the Reef Link, but
yeah, because you got more options. They're telling me.
Yeah, plug them into the Apex, but you can combine. For instance, all my power heads are my MP40s are controlled by the Reef Link, but you can like plug them into the Apex if you're running out of space. You can buy like a splitter or a surge protector, so that way whenever you're doing maintenance, you just turn off one outlet called power heads, and you kill all your power heads on your Apex.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You do the same thing for like your Vectras. If you use a Vectra as a return pump, one for a closed loop, you can always just you can always just hit one switch and you like kill flow. Like I love that. But also you can also have the app on your phone where you can just, if you want to do feed mode, because everything in feed mode is your pumps and your power heads, you can still do feed mode with an app on your phone. So if you want to do like a 10-minute feed mode and feed food or feed your corals, you can just hit feed mode on EcoSmart Live on your phone or your Apple Watch or wherever, or talk to Alexa. Even Alexa works with it now.
Right, I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I've kind of done. Because you don't want to. If you have 2 Vectras and 3 MP40s, that's 5 plugs. If you plug in individually, that's more than half your slots. So just get a surge protector, plug a couple of pumps into it, and then put that into one slot, and then just call that power head, so you can control all your pumps with one power head.
Okay, so what about the solenoid for my calcium reactor or whatever? Could I run? Would that? I mean, I'm trying to, I'm a reef junkie just like everybody else. I want to buy modules that just to make the display look better, but I want them to be used. You know what I mean? So I was looking at the solenoid, the flow solenoid, and then also the 1-inch flow, so it could tell you how much flow is going in and out of your tank. I was going to buy the kit. I guess it comes with what, a 1/2 inch, 2 1/2 inch, and 2 1-inch.
No, it comes with 1 1-inch and 2 1/2 inch.
Right.
The solenoid. You know what? I think the best person to ask about the solenoid would be Jeff from Daily Reefing. I think he can tell you the best one to use, whether it's normally on or normally closed. Because, for instance, if you want, I know solenoids are one of them. When you apply power to it, it open, and you have one. Well, it's always closed, and then when you apply power to it, it's open, and you have them the opposite, where it's always closed, and only when you turn them on, they're open. So. I think Jeff is the best person to ask about like solenoids because he's used them. But I wouldn't. Oh my God, I'm gonna sound like such a person saying this, but you're hooking up an Apex now. Like I wouldn't go ahead and go crazy with the flow meters and the solenoids initially. Like get the flow meters on. With the FMM, I like that FMM module because then you can add a leak detector to it. You can maybe add an optical sensor to it. For what you're trying to do, don't get the kit. Get the FMM module and then get whatever flow. Like
now, what about? I heard they're stopping making the ALD. So now they got the kits for you buy it gives you the the FMM and 2 leak detectors for 150. And you can buy the ALD and buy your own leak detectors, and it comes out a little cheaper.
The thing that controls the center of all of these is what's called their flow monitor FMM module. That's what the optical sensors are in. That's what the leak detectors are in. That's what the float sensors are in. So basically, it has 4 slots, and whatever you plug into those 4 slots you can tell, you know, like the apex what's in it. So I think you should sit down and like really plan what you don't want to buy the kit and then you get 2 half-inch sensors and then you don't need them, you know? You just have them laying around. So I think sit down and don't be like me and just make, you know, like impulse purchases. Sit down and kind of decide what you want. And then, you know, like you might realize, hey, I don't want to buy the kit because I'm going to get 2 half-inch sensors I don't need. But I'll buy the FMM, and because it has 4 slots, I can put.
I've seen that. Yeah, it's got the 4 slots on the bottom.
Yeah, you can put 1 leak detector on it. You can put a 1-inch flow meter on it. Maybe you want a 2-inch flow meter, and then you can also put an optical sensor on it. So just sit down and it might cost you. I don't think it's going to cost you anything more because you're not getting anything you're not going to need. But sit down and say, hey, I want 1 leak detector, I want 1 optical sensor, I want 2 flow meters, and then you can buy the stuff individually. It'll be more useful to you that way.
All right, yeah, because I'm not in no rush. I mean, but I'm trying to get rid of some cords. So if I can use 2 surge protect, you know what I mean? I just got too many cords. I mean, they're just plugs everywhere. I want to neaten everything up. And I want to be able to just control it through this thing instead of going underneath and trying to find out which cord is where. And because I got it all zip tied and try to run it and finger it, you know what I mean? It was just not worth it. And I wasn't going to get the $800 one because I don't know how ORP, I know what it is and I know how it works, but I don't follow it. So there was no point in me doing that. If I want it later, I can always get it, but $500, that's a great deal, you know?
Yeah, when I was at MACNA, I was really surprised. When I was at MACNA, I was talking with Terrence, and I started, like, basically adding up the cost of, like, buying the cheaper version of the Apex and then adding the modules as you need them later. And I was surprised. It wasn't, like, crazy money. Like, for instance, if you get the ES, was it the EL like you have now, and then you buy all the modules later, like it'll only cost you an extra $170. But if you buy that now and then you add salinity and then you add, you know, like what's the next one later and pH or whatever it is later, then you can actually come out ahead or only get what you want. So I actually I thought it would be like, you know, some things when you buy in bulk, like it's ridiculously cheaper when you buy in bulk up front versus buying it individually later. But I was surprised how much of a value it is, you know, when I added everything up.
Okay.
Hey, Greg. How you doing, Greg?
Hey, pretty good. Oh, how are you?
I am fine.
I was, like I said, I know you know these people and you talk, and I know you know a lot about it. So I just figured I'd just jump in. I just want to do it the right way, and I don't want to buy extra modules. And I know it'll look cool, but it's just like if there's no purpose, I'd rather not get it. You know. So you're saying get the FMM module? That'd be the first one to buy.
Yeah, that is the heart of. I like that module. I think that's the heart of.
I think that's $150, right, or $140, something 40.
I think what is it? $99.
Oh, that's only $99.
Yeah, $99. I think that's the heart of the new leak detectors, the new flow meters, and the new optical sensors. I'm not sure if that's called the FMN module.
But with that one, just like you were saying, just that one module, I can hook up 4 different things and run it all off of that one module.
Yes. Let me, you know what, the one, let me see what the solenoid runs. If the solenoid also
$39 is the solenoid, $39.
Yeah, DM, where were you looking to put a solenoid?
On my calcium reactor.
For like a backup control?
Yeah, just in case something goes wrong and it goes haywire. Okay. Say my CO2 climbs like or goes too low or too hot, whatever. I just want it to shut off.
Yeah, so this is how I have mine set up right here. So I kind of have that. I got the solenoid on here for the CO2 line.
Yeah, so that's what I want. Yeah, that's what I wanted.
If the pH gets too low, the Apex will de-energize the outlet or the carbon doser, but if something's faulty and it's just dumping gas, the solenoid also closes.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. That's exactly what I want to do. Because I just feel like I don't have a carbon doser. I got a Milwaukee. It's okay. It works. It's pretty accurate. But sometimes,
Same principle though. You want to have something as a backup on that, so it doesn't dump it all into the reactor at once.
Yeah, and then pushes everything, melts everything, and then crashes my tank. That's the main reason.
The solenoid
for $40, I couldn't beat it. I was like, for $40, it's a safety.
The Neptune system solenoids plugs into the energy bar 832. So those DC 24 ports that are on the side of the they plug into the side of it. So you actually don't, if you're using I don't know anyone who's using them. I think Jeff is that a Neptune system solenoid, Alex?
Yeah.
Okay. And you like it?
I mean, so far it's doing a decent job. I mean, it runs because it's a power on to open. It's a little warm, but it's doing an okay job. I don't have a problem with it so far.
Oh, so you bought the one where it's all you have to power it to open it.
Yeah. Yeah, because if I have a power failure, or I'd rather have it to where it'll if it loses power, it defaults to just closing itself, so it can't dump gas into here continuously.
Exactly.
You know what? That's a good. I was going to ask you why you didn't get the other one, but that makes perfect sense.
So there's two different ones?
Yes.
So what did you buy, Alex? Always on or no? Always off?
It's power on to open.
I gotta write that down. Power on to open. Power on.
Yeah, I work with some industrial valves that are like this too, where it's the same thing. Some of them are power on to open, some of them are power on to close, and it just depends on what's safe. If you lose power, what do you want it to do?
So DM, I guess this is how. So I think the one that Alex has is closed. It's closed. By default, it's closed. And only when he turns it on the apex is it open. And then you have the ones that are opposite that are always open, and then when you turn them on the apex, they close.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, though. It's got to be energized to open up for mine.
You and all your industry vernacular.
Vernacular.
Sorry, I work with industrial chiller plants sometimes, so I get some of that terminology stuck in my head. I know we've been shifted topics, but I'm going to go ahead and feed those white worms that I captured a little earlier and just them, and I'll let everybody see just how quickly they get eaten up.
All right, let's see. Whoop, whoop.
So they kind of ball up, so I'll tend to separate them a bit. Otherwise, the whole mess of them are going to get eaten by one fish. All right, there we go. All right, and in we go.
Man.
These will be gone in less than a minute.
Even the tangs eat them?
Everything eats them. They don't. They might look at them a little funny at first, but once they figure out what they are, they're gone. I mean, the hawkfish just nailed one. Yeah, they're pretty much gone now. And the cool thing is too is they you'll get them all different sizes depending how you trap them, and you'll have like little micro ones swimming around the corals will catch them.
Wait, that is gone already. That took like 17 seconds.
Yeah, I know.
Insane.
Hey, I haven't fed the big guys yet.
My fishes don't even eat mice that fast.
I know.
All right, let me give them the rest of their food. Well, I was kind of looking at some other. I fed them some nori already, and they wiped that out too. I mean, the stupid little cleaner wrasse, man, he'll go and take mysis and try to woof it down. Look at that.
Alex, what was the first thing that you fed?
Say it one more time.
What was the first thing that you fed the tank?
Those were live white worms.
Okay.
Live white worms. All right.
Yeah, so they're gonna chow down on everything else. Now I know the big guys are ready to eat. I bet you're hungry. All right.
You know, like what? My biggest technology wish when it comes to reefing is definitely like live feeding. A way to implement like automatic live feeding.
Well, I mean, technically, I kind of have it because all the big sumps I have are putting pods in so continuously.
Yeah.
Oh, everybody's gonna come up and be ready to eat.
What's your key to keeping so many like such a crazy microfauna diversity like alive and sustaining?
Well, a lot of it comes down to just having a good space where nothing can bother them.
Dude,
You
because
know,
in my sump, I really don't see anything on my glass. Like, I mean, I'll have the bristle worms, I'll have like a few pods here and there, but they don't thrive in my tank at all.
well, you'll notice I'm feeding my tank pretty heavy right now. I mean, you got to remember when you're feeding, it's not just about the fish or the corals directly. You know,
Yeah.
it's about feeding all that microfauna that you have in here too, and making sure they get enough. Oh, where's my other big guy at?
You know what? I was running a UV sterilizer and I turned it off. Once I turned it off, I noticed the sump is now full of pods. Not Alex type pods. Those will probably eat a couple of my fish. But sometimes you might have equipment or that kind of stops them from
Thriving.
and I think a UV is one.
Well, it's funny you say that because I got an 80-watt high output that I run 24/7 on this system.
Yeah, but you also have like a refugium, like what is that, a 40-gallon tank that's dedicated to breeding them?
A little more than that.
How big is that
How
tank?
big is that? How big is it?
Well, okay, so you gotta remember, I got the surface area of a 265-gallon tank with no predators, 150-gallon with all the surface area, no predators, and a 120-gallon tank that's got about 80, 90 gallons in it. That's everything's crawling. So let me feed these white worms and I'll show you guys just what it looks like in these sump tanks.
All right, let me check the jet score.
Oh,
guys.
He has sump tanks with an S.
So when you go to order that, Alex, you just say power on to open solenoid, or?
Yeah, it should be. I would think it should be labeled on whichever Apex one it is, like however it does it.
It might be called normally closed and normally open. So the normally closed one is going to be closed until you apply power, which is the one Alex has, and then the other one is going to be called NC normally closed. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Right,
so when you're looking at it, it might be called normally closed and normally open.
I'm confused by that. I don't know if I'm just slow today or what, but what does that mean? Normally closed and normally open.
Well,
but
it depends on the application where you're using it. So like Alex basically has one that's closed all the time, and when he turns it on in his Apex, it opens. So that's called normally closed.
Yeah.
It's closed, and then when you turn it on, it opens. And the opposite of that is normally open, where it's open, and then when you turn it on in your Apex, it closes. Yep.
Okay.
How you doing, Greg? Still making those barbecue?
Sorry about that. Oh, I was on mute.
Oh,
No, I just finished. So,
barbecue
What you
famous.
what you barbecuing?
my kids wanted teriyaki beef, so
Huh?
that's why. Did a little
Listen, Greg.
Are
teriyaki
you
beef.
are you adopting?
No.
Hey, so if I come to Reefapalooza, California next year, do I get is barbecue included?
Yes, you do, El.
Probably. Maybe on Monday or so.
All
We
right,
can
you
do
know
a
what?
little get together.
All right, cool. That sounds
Oh,
good.
you live in California, eh?
Yep.
Okay.
This is Mr. Reefapalooza here, man. By the way, when is the show? When is the show, Greg?
October 6th and 7th.
October 6th and 7th. Reefapalooza. You know what? I have to look at all the reefers we have, I know, on the streams that live in the area. Because I think I said to you before, like, I was just kind of surprised at some of the lack of coverage that, like, the California Reefapalooza gets.
Right.
But, yeah, I think
But
I'm going to reach
we explain
out.
that.
Yeah, but I'm going to, I think, I think we're on Discord and we have a couple of gaming channels, and I was surprised. There's a few people who live in the area who didn't necessarily shoot video. So
Gotcha.
I'll just reach out to whoever and see,
Well, I mean, I think it's gonna be pretty good. We got a lot of. I mean, I've been working really hard on the raffle. We're actually going to give away an Abiz A200.
Can remote people, can people in New York win it, even though we're not there? Oh.
Must be present to win.
Oh my gosh! You're giving away an Abiz A200.
And I don't think anyone's ever raffled off an Abiz.
Do you get? I mean, TMG. That's like what is that? A $1,900 pump?
Wait. I mean, man, I would sell that and buy me like 10 J-Bo.
Wait, if I fly out there and win that pump, it'll probably be worth it.
Yeah.
If you could guarantee that I'll win that pump, I'll come out there. Hey.
No, my raffle's not rigged.
Hey, we can talk offline.
No, you can't.
Oh, hey, just wait till Rap Chicago.
You guys gonna give away a Biz A400?
No, they're gonna give away bullets.
Oh, TMG.
To be honest with you, the show is actually outside of Chicago in a decent area because we were all scared to go to Chicago.
Don't do that. Well, Reefapalooza, New York is not actually in New York, so I can't.
Exactly.
I hate that.
Exactly. I mean, could you imagine if it was in Brooklyn?
Brooklyn is.
Wait. What is that? Whoa. Hey, listen, man.
Brooklyn is good now, man.
I could barely afford to live in Brooklyn, so Brooklyn is.
No, I know. I'm just playing with you.
Oh man! But if you said Queens, if you said Queens now, that's different. I can understand if you said Queens, but Brooklyn now.
Got it.
Reefapalooza Dumbo.
Listen, we couldn't afford to put the Reefapalooza in Dumbo.
Yeah, man.
The real hard part when we're looking for a location is the cost of the venue, and the closer you are in a big city, like if we were to do it in the convention center or a hotel in New York City, nobody would come. No one would be able to. When I say that, nobody, I'm talking about exhibitors, wouldn't be able to afford the booths.
Well, I understand. We understand. And it's not, you can tell by the turnout in New York, it's not too far to travel to. Like, literally, even though I take public transport, it's literally like a 10 or 15-minute ride from Times Square to get there.
Yep.
So...
And then here in California, we're kind of limited. I'm in Orange County, and people think LA because that's where all the wholesalers are. But here in California, the center of the hobby, the majority of the hobbyists are in Orange County. Mm-hmm. So we just have the show right here in Orange County. Mainly because they're the laziest bunch of reefers and won't drive anywhere for nothing.
So how far from LA? Because I know the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Like how far? That I think they're in Orange County. So how far?
They're in, yes. So the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, their stadium is about 40 miles from Los Angeles.
Okay.
We can't see Los Angeles from here.
Okay.
Even in a high rise, you could. I mean, it's just too far.
When we flew to San Francisco for my honeymoon, we had to fly to LAX and then lay over to San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And that's what, when we were flying in, I've never been there. My wife has. So I was like, man, what city is this? It's huge. She said, oh, this is LA. I was like, no, look on the map. We're still like, 20, 30 minutes flight time out from LA. She's like, no, this is LA. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
LA is that big?
Well, no. The Los Angeles metropolis area is that big. Right. I mean, it's a basin. So what happens is, especially, it's really crazy when you come in at night. One time we were coming from Northern California, and I had this hippie guy sitting next to me, and he was going to visit his sister for the first time in 30 years. And we're flying, and he's like, that must be Fresno. And I'm like, yeah, probably. He's that must be Bakersfield. And then it was like pitch black. And then all of a sudden there was this massive glow. And he's all, wow, what city is that? And I said, all of them. Because that's really what it is. All the cities run together. If you don't pass a sign, you don't know what city you're in. There's no distance between the cities.
So is Compton a part of LA?
Compton is a part of LA. I mean, it's separate. Technically, it's a separate city, but it's LA County.
Oh, okay. So I get it. It's kind of like New York, where you have Manhattan, Queens, Brooklyn, Bronx.
Right, but the mayor of New York is the mayor of all 5 boroughs.
Yeah.
In LA, he's not. He's just the mayor of the city of Los Angeles, and every other suburb city
has their own mayor.
Has their own governing body. Now, some of them may still use LAPD. They may contract with LAPD, like Compton. Yeah. Doesn't have a Compton police force, so it's LAPD that patrols Compton.
Gotcha.
So I'm not really a professional on Los Angeles since I've lived in Orange County all my life. We don't really ever have the desire to go to Los Angeles. There's nothing there that we don't have here.
Yeah, I don't got Tupac.
LA don't have Tupac.
Oh
man, dude, I want to come. When is Reefapalooza Cali?
October 6th and 7th.
Yo, man, I want to fly out to Cali so bad.
So next year
it'll be in August.
Next year I have to be really selective with my shows that I go to, because I don't think I'm doing MACNA next year. We keep that on the low, but I want to do Aquashella.
I don't know when Aquashella is. I mean, I notified them the day they announced this year's Aquashella. I notified them of the date of Reefapalooza 2019. Because I didn't, before then, there wasn't anyone I could tell. I had no idea that show was even in the works. Normally when you put on a big show, you talk to the others, but they didn't. And don't get me wrong, it's their first show, so I didn't expect them to. But as soon as I found out about it, I'm like, hey, we may have a conflict, because we work 2 years out. For all the Reefapaloozas. Contracts are 2 years out. So we signed the contract for 2019. Actually, that was just signed earlier this year. And then for Chicago. And then we signed for 2019 for California at the beginning of this year.
All right. So, I want to do Reefapalooza California next year. I don't think I'm going to do MACNA next year. So I
There's a lot of people, I've heard people saying that. But unfortunately, when MACNA comes to town, and I'll tell you, there ain't nothing like an East Coast MACNA, because all the exhibitors go to the East Coast MACNAs. They don't all go to the west, west of the Mississippi.
I am doing a video now, which is my Reefapalooza New York versus my MACNA walkthroughs.
Uh-huh.
Listen, any show that's on the East Coast, I'm gonna go.
Right.
I'll go. If it's anywhere on the East Coast, I'll go. If MACNA's on the East Coast, I'll go. Oh, MACNA's in Orlando next year.
Yeah.
I can't do it next year.
Then go to Rap Orlando. You still get to go to Orlando.
You know what? Rap Orlando seems like such a fun show because everyone is together and they hang out together afterwards.
Yeah, we got a good 600 people in the hotel.
Yes. So, you know what?
I would recommend it.
You know what? I gotta. Of course, gotta run it by the wife.
Yes.
I'm keeping my voice down.
Hey, I'm telling you. Oh, you just need to come here in March.
I will. We will see. But California. If I'm not gonna say if I make one next year is gonna be that, but I'm really looking forward to kind of doing.
All right. Hey, we'll always be here. I mean, and this is the home of Reefapalooza. So
never been on the West Coast. So it'll be a nice West Coast trip.
This is going to be our 15th year hosting the show.
All right. You know what? I'm ready for my West Coast trip. Let me get my shoulders ready. All right, cool. We're ready. I'm ready.
So what'd you think of my new sump? Hopefully everybody will understand why I waited and waited and waited and waited.
Listen, let me tell you something. I am so jealous. Like, I'm saying that, like, I don't usually get jealous over people's equipment, but I don't usually, I asked you about the price because I don't usually get jealous over equipment, but when I saw that, I got jealous.
Well, you can buy the smaller version. It's just that version he's just not going to make.
Yeah, but I'm not going to do anything that custom. I wish you know what? Let me see if I can get it up on the screen so I can show everyone kind of what we're talking about. So, got a nice custom sump from Vertex. And you know why I especially got jealous? Because I got my hands on a Royal exclusive skimmer. And I was just thinking, like, hey, man, this would be awesome to kind of put us on a sump and have it match. And then you went ahead and sent me that picture. And I'm like, just at the time when my mind was going through, hey, like, maybe, he can get a new sump. You go ahead and send me that. So that wasn't cool, man. That wasn't cool.
Sorry. But see, the Vertex ones, they all come with a skimmer.
Oh, so that's it. You got a skimmer with that?
Yeah, for mine, there's an Alpha 300 that goes with it.
Oh. Wow. So it comes with two reactors. So it comes with two reactors.
Right, and then what you see in the bottom there is is that the only picture I sent you?
Yes, sir.
Oh, really? I thought I sent you more.
What size is that sump tank?
It's 51 inches long, 24 inches wide, 18.5 inches tall.
Nice.
So let me send you some additional pics. Real quick.
Thanks. More pictures. Are those air silent on the left?
Yes, those are the silencers for the skimmer.
What?
Yeah, I'll explain that in just a second. Let me get you these pictures.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. That'll make it really quiet.
It's not
far off of what I got on mine.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, like, I've never seen like an external silencer off the. Yeah, but your skimmer is basically custom built in. Like, how is, you know, I'm just trying to figure out how the silencers plumbed there. Like, Alex, when we did like the tour of your tank, I understood like the silencer, but
Oh,
It's-
sorry, for some reason, having little troubles here. So
yeah.
Yeah, it just comes down to making it so that you kind of buffer that air that's coming in, so where it's not allowing that sound to get outside the main tube.
That looks nice. That's a nice song.
Yeah, I do like
all
the
right,
plumbing.
I just sent you
Nice job.
get a little closer, but I waited a year for it. It was worth every minute.
A year.
Are those 1.5 on the sides on either side of those the trains?
Hold on, let me. So on the right hand side is where the return pump is going to be, and that'll be in a Biz 200. On the left hand side is the drain. So I think they're about 1.25 inches is the diameter.
Did they put a gate on that or a ball?
It is a ball. You'll see little close ups. They completely plummet all the way through. All you have to do is connect it, and you're good to go.
Nice.
Somebody said the shrink wrap is really stopping you from seeing in the sump. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, but the other pictures show you a little bit more. We just didn't want to get it. We didn't want to scratch it. That's still sitting at Vertex. I pick it up tomorrow, so I'll probably do a little video and post it to YouTube on my channel. You know, kind of like I did with my Rockscape.
Oh wait, no, that is the same. I'm sharing the same picture. Yeah. All right. Let me.
That looks sharp. At least you can see through the side of your sump tanks.
Yeah. So down that black, area down there, that's one of their, Askell powered pumps. That is for draining the sump. Now, the way they did it, every chamber, so all that plumbing you see, there were like goes up and it tees and everything.
Mm-hmm.
What that does, it sucks from all 3 chambers, and they routed an area. I think you may see on the next picture. They routed an area in the sump so that the pipe goes down to a lower point. Therefore, it can suck. It can basically suck it dry. So if I do a water change, I can just completely suck the sump dry, fill it back up, and turn it back on.
That's a nice little. It's those little details that make stuff like that.
Right. And then, so that's the chamber. So I'll have to take, unfortunately, those pipes off to get the abyss down in there, but it goes down in there. There are a few, it's already got the, if I want to use a dosing pump or whatnot, it's already got the feeds for my dosing pumps already there. There's also a track that actually hides the wire. It wasn't on there yet, but it's part of the package as well. The regular Supra sumps. So there's the silencers for the skimmer, and then the 2 little needle valves for the calcium reactors.
Yeah, that's a picture I'm showing now. That is.
Yeah.
The level of detail with this thing. Wow.
It's even crazier in person. It's even.
Did you say calcium reactors?
Yes. I'll
Wait,
probably be using 2.
Fluoro?
Okay.
Wait,
I'll start with 1,
wait.
and as demand gets too high for the 1, I'll add a second one.
You're using an Abyss A200, right?
Correct.
Okay. What? Okay, now I've never heard plural in regards to calcium reactor.
Okay, so the reason why it's plural is they don't make bigger than a 6-inch diameter calcium reactor. Because this sump, when it was ordered, I was in a different house, and the sump was actually going to be in the garage. And after I ordered it, my wife decided she didn't want to live there anymore, so we moved. So now it's got to go under the sump. So I only have about 12 inches front to back. Well, it'll be less than that by the time the sump's in there, and you got the metal stand. So I probably have about 8 inches. So a 6-inch diameter calcium reactor is about as big as I can go. So we'll just have to do 2 of them if the demand gets high enough to need 2.
A 6-inch calcium reactor, that doesn't sound too big.
Well, it's dual chamber.
Okay.
That's a pretty good sized reactor, though, because I mean, even my secondary here is a 6-inch. I mean, that's a pretty big chunk of plastic there.
That's I think I was talking to Daily Reefing, and I think he tried. Well, I was talking to him about calcium reactors, and one thing I didn't realize is you can actually get small CO2 tanks. The thing that always kind of put me off is I thought, hey, like, I'm going to have a giant CO2 tank in my living room, which I didn't realize you can get some small compact ones.
Oh, yeah, the ones like for
paintball gun ones.
Paintball guns, exactly.
You can, and those you buy and they're disposable most of the time.
Well, the other thing you got to remember too, is that even if you bought a bigger tank, you don't have to put it right next to it. That line, the pressure you get off that thing is not gonna deplete itself if you make a 20-foot run of that hose off of it.
So I was seriously, like, I came back, I was measuring spaces. So I don't know if maybe a single chamber calcium reactor. I was thinking, I had a really in-depth conversation with Jeff at MACNA.
You know what
you
I
never
call
know.
that stump? A divorce. That's what that is for me.
Yes. Good thing my wife isn't watching this stream.
My wife
yes.
would divorce me.
Yes, probably. So I don't even want.
So
I want to know how much it costs, but I also don't want to know.
Yeah. Let's just say, luckily, Jason, the owner of Vertex, is a good friend of mine.
Yes.
So, because I wouldn't have been able to afford it otherwise. So, but the regular Super, which is a 36-inch, I think it's 36 inches long. So I just sent you. Oh, you got it. Okay. So that's with the skimmer in it. That's basically the way it looks, and that's the 12-inch diameter cone skimmer.
Oh, that's the Alpha. Nice.
That's
Yeah.
the Vertex skimmer as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be Vertex.
Neck
Okay,
cleaner.
you're
putting the neck cleaner on it and everything.
Yeah, I don't think the neck cleaner's in there. Maybe I'll get that when he comes back to town. But I have an Aqua Driver neck cleaner anyway, so it'll fit perfect on there.
Hey, I got a question off the beaten track.
Uh-huh.
I have a nitrate and phosphate issue going on in my system. I'm running Phosguard, the GFO 4 times stronger. I'm running biopellets. Obviously, all in small quantities, but I checked my nitrates today, and they're still like 20. I checked my phosphates on my HANA checker, and it's still blinking 200. I do not understand how and why this is even possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Your phosphate is definitely way, way, way out of range. You said it's 200?
Yeah, it blinks 200. Now, if I dilute it in half,
Ultra low.
yeah, I got the ultra low phosphate, so it's really like 6.
0.6, right? Parts per million?
0.6. I'm running about
it's 0.6. Okay. I haven't used one since they went to those ultra low. so it's okay. So 0.06.
Right. So I know it's high, but
no, that's
they're
low.
telling me
0.06.
No, not 0.06. It's when the checker blinks 200 means it's over 0.6. Which, Greg, when I was telling you that I had a phosphate problem, mine blinks that way. Like,
okay,
I still haven't solved what's the cause of the phosphate issues in my tank, but I'm having when it blinks 200. Are you sure your checker is working properly? That's the thing. DM, are you sure your checker is working properly? He can't hear us, but
I think he's frozen. Oh, there he is.
Just try that. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Now we can.
Are you sure your checker is working properly? Oh, he froze again.
Spazzing out.
So I just to make sure my checker was working properly, I got the calibration solution. I got a second test kit. I also started testing, my new seawater that I mixed
I'm not sure if it is or if it's not. But if I dilute the water,
I say get a cheaper test kit to see how high you are. Like I bought a test kit that went up to 1.2, and I'm at 1.2 phosphates. Like I know that. But before
I'll be honest with you. I don't think anyone should be using the ultra low phosphate kit if its range taps out at 0.06. That's just ridiculous. Because
0.6, not 0.06.
Oh, 0.6. Even 0.6. Because okay. I mean, you can get to 1. I mean, I've known people with higher than 1 that their tank was fine, but everything was in balance. The nitrates were high too, So, I think people need to really concentrate on keeping their nitrate and phosphate in balance, and running GFO, running Phosguard. All those things are bringing your nitrate down. I mean your phosphate down, but doing absolutely nothing for your nitrate. So that's just my opinion on the way I look at it. I like to stay in that natural range so that if you're going to be running something like a biopellet like he is, it has the chance to actually do its work. So.
All right, I lost you guys. So my internet sucks here.
Yeah, probably turn off your camera and just go with voice. It'd probably use a little less bandwidth.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I was just telling the guys is that in my experience, I did a lot of testing for biopellets when they first came out. But it really changed a lot. I was working with Warner Marine when he first came out with his, and it really changed the way I look at reefing. And I believe in keeping a balanced ratio of nitrate to phosphate, a natural ratio. So I never, ever recommend anyone running something like a Phosguard or a GFO or anything like that, because you're doing everything to get rid of phosphate, but doing zero to get rid of nitrate. And bacteria can't work without the other. It's got to have both, and it's got to have them in a natural ratio so that it's biologically available to them.
Right.
So
I get that.
Now you do got a little bit of phosphate. Now, how fast do you run the water through that through the bio pellets?
Right
That could
now,
also
I
be a
just have
problem.
it where, right now I have it just tumbling. I just put them on there probably 3 weeks ago or so,
Okay.
4 weeks. I mean, so they haven't really, and I'm only doing 125 mils or
Okay.
mLs on a 340 gallon system. So, I mean, I'm way under than what I need. But I didn't want to bring the nitrates down too fast, and I didn't want to bring my phosphates down too fast.
Right. Okay. Well, it's. I can tell you that bringing them down too fast is not the issue. What the issue is the bacteria populating too fast. Because if you give bacteria carbon, nitrate, and oxygen, and phosphate, they're gonna replicate uncontrollably until one of those things hits zero.
Okay, because I did lose a few corals. Like they started RTN in, or not RTN, STN in, and I'm thinking I've never had a problem.
That can be from GFO though.
But I have never run anything. And what happened was I shut my skimmer. Let me backtrack. So what happened was I had a problem with some chalices. I like chalices. They're beautiful, blah, blah, blah. And what happened was I thought I had too much flow. I thought I didn't have, everything was reading zero. So what I did was I shut the skimmer off for a few days, turn it on, shut it off for a few days, I took my bio pellets off and completely just got rid of them, thinking that I can keep up with the biological, anaerobic, and bacteria and everything that's in my system. Well, eventually that took over, and I was feeding heavily just to try to get some nutrients in the water for them, because I thought that's why they were bleaching or discoloring. And what happened was I think I added too much food, too much everything, and it got out of whack that way. Does that make sense?
Gotcha. Yeah, it makes sense, but I will tell you that there is another thing that could have hurt your acros and made them start STNing. And everyone seemed to spread the misinformation, which was that GFO, it'll lower your phosphate so fast that the corals can't adapt to it. Well, what if you did a 50% water change? You tell me what's going to lower your phosphate faster than a 50% water change.
All right. I did
nothing.
No,
So
yeah.
what it is GFO, when you first add it, the first couple of days, one of the downsides is that it also takes down your alkalinity. It absorbs alkalinity from the water. So it only happens for the first couple of days. And so you probably had a dip in alkalinity and then later caught back up. It's very common, but that's typically the case when you run GFO. And that's another reason why I don't like GFO. I just don't like it. Personally, I don't run any media unless it's just for a particular reason. Like I may run a little bit of carbon if I notice my water has a little tint to it when I do a water change. Otherwise, there's nothing. There's no media at all in my sump.
All right. So I bought filter stocks.
Yeah,
I just put those in.
You tried to throw everything in the kitchen sink at the problem. And that's the worst. Nothing good happens fast in this hobby. Remember that. Everything bad happens fast. Nothing good happens fast in this hobby. You have to be very patient.
That's not just a cliche.
That is not just a cliche. So
I agree, listening to what's been kind of getting talked about with this, and then I'd be concerned if the phosphate's that high. Is what's the source of it? Are you putting water into the tank that has phosphate in it already?
That's a possibility. But he said he's never done anything.
Well, yeah, but I was topping off with you know what, this could be I get drinking water. I couldn't make it to the store, so the Hinkley Springs drinking water, I added a jug of that to my top off.
Okay,
and,
hold on.
That added.
Whenever I hear of a drinking water that says Springs, that sounds like that's a natural source water and not a reverse osmosis water.
Or it's a municipal water source that they just threw in a bottle.
It could be that too.
I live in
New York water's pretty good.
Wait,
Do you think
New York-
that's probably the culprit too then?
New York
Possibly.
water is pretty good.
Yeah.
Low
Really good.
TDS, like it can come out sometimes 15 TDS. But I just tested it with like Elo's test kit 2 weeks ago, and it came out I think closer to 2 ppm, 2 phosphates on the Elo's test kit. So while it's low in TDS, it's really high in phosphate.
I should test it with the Hannah checker right now.
So, we always say New York water. I always say, hey, New York water is good, but not good enough to put in your reef tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta always. That's one of the big things I always would tell people with phosphate, nitrate, whatever kind of issues are getting imbalanced is what's your water source.
Absolutely.
I actually been letting TDS slip into my tank because my phosphate nitrate got down to 0 when I put all the triple DI cartridges on. So.
Yeah, I mean.
I'm gonna let you guys know right now.
All right.
I want to see what the phosphates are in my drinking water.
Yeah, and the thing you got to remember too is that unfortunately, water running through pipes of any kind, if there's damage, repairs, they're changing
it
what they're
picks up all
adding
kinds
to
of
it.
things.
Yeah, that's never going to be a status quo with it.
True.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's why I got some cyano in my reef tank right now, because I've been letting some TDS in on purpose, but the corals are happy, so.
Yeah, we have a club member who has a 3,000-gallon outdoor coral farm, and he actually stopped running RODI. He just runs RO. And then what he's doing is treating the RO with vitamin C, which will, I guess, oxidize any of the ammonia or anything else that makes it through. And he's just like,
okay.
he just can't afford to keep adding DI to finish the water off. So.
All right. So here we go. I'm going to put this in first.
Wait, is that I don't think that's a freshwater test. I think that's meant to be used with marine. That's why I went out and purchased the Elo's test kit, which you can use with both. So if you're testing your water from your tap, I don't think you're gonna. I think if you look at it,
let's try it first to see what it comes up with.
All right.
Yeah, I'm try it. I got a brand new package of Hannah testers, so 25 of them.
Well, the other thing you could do too, DM, is that if the test results with just the fresh water don't work, because I forgot those kits only do. I think I was right. I think they're only meant for marine. But what you can do is mix up a small batch of salt water, like 5 gallons or something, and test some fresh salt water too, and make sure that's tested okay.
Yeah, that's something you can do for sure.
Greg, something I noticed, which I ran out of salt. So my tap water has high phosphates. After it goes through my system, I tested it. There's no phosphate. But after I mixed a little bit, it had a little bit of phosphate. You think that's coming from the salt mix, my container?
Either or, it could be both. I mean, typically they don't have, if there's any phosphate in a salt mix, it's very little. Very little.
But there can also be low nitrates in salt mix, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And a little ammonia too, for a little bit, until it airs off. That's why you want to aerate fresh salt.
Right. That's why you really should mix it for like 4 to 6 hours, not mix and dump.
Exactly. Now there are some salts, that supposedly can do it faster, but I like to be safe than sorry.
Usually I mix one together, and once it's cleared up in the bucket, it's good to go.
Yeah.
Hey, oh, you'll be proud of me. I did a water change.
Who did a water change, Alex?
I did. I changed
Someone
the
has
whole
some.
100 gallons.
Someone has some background noise.
That's me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I thought that was DM.
You did a. What is 100-gallon water change to you, Alex? What is that like?
Well, it's 1,600 gallons, so probably closer to 1,700. So, hey,
wow.
that's like me doing a 2-gallon bucket on my 75, right?
I filled one of my barrels up and mixed salt in it, and then the water change was easy though. I just had to calculate how much water level out of these tanks I had to pump out into the sewer before I shut the pump off.
Why don't you get like a Neptune dose and do like 35 gallons a day water change?
35 gallons a day?
Yeah.
No way.
No, I mean it'll do it slowly.
I know, but that'd be so much money in salt that I'd be flushing down.
No. Not every day. Like whenever you need to do water changes, you just do like, you just have it automated.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I went a year without doing that was the biggest water change I did in a year.
Yeah. Wow.
So before that, I had done 40 gallons.
Greg, what do you think about water? I mean, are you somebody who believes in little to no water changes, or?
I believe in doing water changes whenever I get good and ready. I did one last night, but I hadn't done one in probably 2 months. I mean, I just do them when I do them. I don't. The water smelled a little funky, so I decided to do one. But
still cycling.
I also had.
No. This is my 25 gallon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I said, I pick up the sump tomorrow. So there's nothing in the big tank except the rock. There's no water in it.
I mean, in theory, it would be easier to go no water change on a big tank, wouldn't it, than a small tank? Or I guess it'd be more economical.
I don't. As I like to say, a water change is an instant reset. So I think taking the tactic of I'm not going to do any water changes is fine. But if you have an issue, that's the easiest way to solve it, right away. I know a lot of people believe in this Triton method, which is, no water changes and so forth. And then things start looking bad. And then they say, okay, well, I'm going to send off a test. Well, 10 days later, everything might be dead by the time you get the results back. Just do a quick water change.
And Triton's recommendation is to do water changes.
Yeah, listen.
They've changed?
No, what do you mean? Listen, I'm one of those people that probably spread the rumor talking about no water changes. But listen,
I know Joe says do water changes.
When you get a lot of those tests back and you look in it, like if you have high phosphate, it'll tell you. Water changes, do 10, 20, 30% water changes every week for the next 8 weeks, or they'll tell you a lot slower than what, like if I'm having an issue, I want to do a big water change.
Shut up.
They recommend water changes.
Yeah, it's 9:30. Put them to sleep.
They do not recommend no water change. Like that was like a quadruple negative.
That was when they first came out. When they first came out, they were recommending no water changes. And the reason why is because then they could control what went in your tank and what came out of your tank. They would tell you what you needed to do to get it back where it needed to be. That was the whole basis of the system. So all these people started doing no water changes. Then they changed that. Said, you know what? Let's do water changes.
I did a Triton test. And I got back results where a bunch of stuff was out of whack.
Yeah, and it told you to do water changes.
No. They told me to buy all these things I did water changes, and because it would have been like a couple $100 because I needed potassium. I have potassium and I have iodine. Like those are two things, like need adjusting semi-regularly. But potassium, iodine, molybdenum, I needed like 8 something different elements. I just did a bunch of water changes and off another Triton test. Everything was perfect again.
Wow.
Life was good.
Yeah.
You know what's funny though, the way they're going with their, I don't know, do they saw their leaky containers for a while? They could have just put a little note in the empty jug and said, "Do a water change. Thanks for making
wow. Oh wow, Alex. Listen, I like Triton. I like the concept of Triton. I told Joe this many times when I see him. I just can't trust him, and I don't care if it's BRS blaming someone else, if it's Triton blaming someone else, if it's someone else blaming someone else. And I told these to the Triton guys at MACNA. Like I said, you have no trust. I said it was a big thing. You couldn't get it to me, and when we finally got it to me, then the stuff was leaking, and then the guy on the forums wasn't answering questions, and in fact, he ended up being rude and avoiding questions from customers. So I just told him, I said, there's a lot of trust and rebuilding you're gonna have to do to just get back on people's goodwill. But I said, first, the fact is, if the stuff is not available when I need it, like I literally gave, I think Dave was in the chat earlier. I gave Dave some Triton to try, and then had to go ask him back for it because we were desperate. Like a few friends of mine who were doing Triton, like I was mailing 100 ml bottles to people because we were on our deathbed with Triton.
Right.
And
I remember that.
Thing, you have your whole life support system, and that thing's getting. Step in the house here and not have spiders fall all over me or something. When it's your life support system, I get so that was one thing that made me nervous as soon as I saw shipping problems. It's like, okay, so if I don't have all this stuff, if something happens or they have a problem, now I'm basically screwed. And back to the adage that was said earlier, nothing good happens fast. And if you got to change method, that's a risky venture.
If it wasn't for Dave, man, I think I would have left Triton. But they just have a lot of trust to rebuild. They have a lot of trust to rebuild. And if it's not one of the reasons I have Triton now is because Reef Keeper in the chat literally sent me a text message. And I remember this one Monday, he said, "Oh, Triton is available." That was I think he sent it to me at like 12 p.m. Eastern. I went and I bought 2 sets. By 5 o'clock Eastern, they were finished. So if he didn't send it to me and I jumped on it like immediately, like I think BRS had 150 sets at 12 p.m.
I figured out that it was 1 pallet worth.
Oh my gosh! Hey, if by the time I'm ready for Triton, if it's not available, like I'm just gonna have to look for something else. But in the UK, they get it whenever they need it. They have refill stations at some LFSs where you can take your bottles in and be like, "Hey, I need a refill. Push a button." And when they went from plastics to the cartons, the price actually dropped in the UK. So for the UK guys like Woody and all those guys that are running Triton, they don't have problems with availability. Like it's just there for them. And us here in the US, like we're getting something.
Hey yo.
Yeah. Yep, DM.
That came out 23. My phosphates, which is regular tap, not my tap water, my drinking water I get it delivered. And whether this is accurate or not, it still showed ultra low phosphorus. It came out 23.
23 is,
Times 3 divided by 1,000. But that I put, you know what I mean? I've done this. I mean, I put probably, I bet you I put 3, 4, 5 gallon buckets in my tank before. You know what I mean? In the last like 2 months.
23 is 0.07. You know what? I think you need to mix up some salt water with some freshly and test that, because I really think that checker is marine water checker only.
Okay.
Yeah, the refraction index would be different.
Yeah.
I also had Callirpa that started to die off. I'm wondering if that had some issues of maybe leaching something. I mean, it was a conjunction of everything, I guess. But you know, I don't rinse my foods down and drain them. I just thaw them out in my hands. My fish eat from my fingers. You know.
I don't rinse mine either.
Yeah.
But I also have high phosphates like you, so.
Now, this was all Pecani rock, too. I mean, when I set up this tank initially in January of this year, it was all fresh Pecani rock. Could it have taken that long for it to start leaching out?
Did you acid bath or bleach bath that Pecani?
No.
Yeah, it could be that then.
Well, when your Callirpa dies, too, all the nutrients it has absorbed pretty much goes back into the water. You know, any of your macroalgae, when it dies off, you know, it soaks up nutrients. If it dies, it releases those nutrients.
It does, but the only thing is that you kind of have to look at it as it's releasing them in the form of like a phytoplankton, basically. So the corals can directly feed off of those, and other filter feeders could take them in too. So it can do that, but it could also be consumed rather quickly sometimes.
Right, but if it doesn't get consumed, it would break back down into nitrates and phosphates, correct?
Right. Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking is maybe my rock. I mean, even though it's 8 months old, could it be leaching stuff out? You know what I mean?
Do you get hair algae on the rocks?
I got no hair algae in my tank at all.
I had a problems with rock leaching, and what I noticed is when I would run Phosguard, it would drop it to where it would be undetectable, but I'd still get hair algae growing out of the rock because I was dropping what was in the water column, but as it would leach, it would soak straight into the hair algae.
Yeah, that's what I had going for the first few months of my tanks.
The most that I have is that my tank glass gets a little dirty, and I gotta clean it every probably 3 to 4 days. That's why the product only 3. I mean, I haven't lost anything. I mean, I fragged all those pieces, and I did lose a lot of it. The mother colony, which was like the size of a volleyball, but I have a lot of pieces that are hopefully going to take. So I don't know, man, and I don't see any pests.
Hey, DM.
But my green slimer too. That's a hardy coral, and my mother colony of green slimer started to strip on me from the lower bottom of the base too.
Greg, is that a Lobo?
Up top. Hold on, let me go back to it.
Orange and metallic.
This one there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, that is a Lobo.
I've got the same one. You know, looks like the same color, but it's a single little round head right now. Maybe.
Oh, really?
Maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches across.
Well, it didn't look like that when I got it. It was kind of brownish green, and it had one little spot of orange on it, and it's just over time really colored up.
It's just not as big.
And this one here is just colored up amazing. It is like true perfection. There isn't a flaw on that color wise.
Yeah, I like Lobos.
Yeah, and then this is a newer one that I got.
Now, how much flow you got in that tank for them to be poofy like that?
Yeah, my Lobo is receding a little bit. Is it probably because of?
I do feed very heavy this tank. considering there's no fish in it. I mean, well, there's a pipefish and a goby, but I feed the corals. I spot feed the corals pretty heavily.
I feed
So
mine
everything,
big chunks of whatever I can get.
and my acans pump up really big.
I like those. Those are
Hell
nice.
yeah.
That's the favorite. Those two are actually, but this one's a very, very close third. And that's a Crocodile Island Scully. It's kind of shrunk up right now, but
That's the one
it's
thing
pretty
I'm staying away
wicked.
from.
Scullies?
Yeah.
Yeah,
those look really nice.
Have that much room.
Thank you. Little Favia here. It's a pretty nice piece. I'm lucky because Reef Raft USA is one of my local fish stores. So
I got one little baby Lobo back there that my LFS had this huge colony, and I was like, I'll ask, because it had a cool pattern in it, that it was like these wispy pastel colors with that dark brown background, and he's like, oh, it's like 500 now. He's like, I got this little tiny nub of it. If you want, I'll cut it for you right now. I was like, yep.
yeah.
Yeah, that's how I got mine. My LFS had cut a bunch of single heads off of his. He's got a rainbow Lobo right now that's awesome, but I'm not spending. He wants $250 for it.
Jeez.
I'm thinking maybe I'll take my Lobos out, put them in my Nano so I can spot feed them.
Oh, you can feed them big chunks of mysis and they'll swallow it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They got one of these hairy Lobos, man. This thing, like,
That's
you
pretty
could.
cool.
It's pretty fast when it starts to pull out its feeding tentacles. It's kind of freaky looking.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I've just got to get my flow right in my tank, I think. Everything's doing
So that's what I was
pretty
saying.
good.
Like, how much flow do you got in there, Greg?
So I have a Tunzi 6040 nano stream. It's the one that kind of looks like the new Stream 3. So it has like a deflector shield on it.
On the
Let me
top
see
of
if
it?
I can. Yeah.
Okay.
I have one of those, and then I have a 6020 regular nano stream when they're both going. Give me a second.
And that's in a 25-gallon.
In a 25-gallon, yes.
That's the Lagoon.
No, it's my tank is it's called the Vitria. Just give me a second.
I'm just trying to picture it.
So,
Because I've been picking O's brain lately about flow for my 40 breeder. I've got a single MP10 in there now, and I can't shell out for another MP10 right now. So I just ordered a Coral Box QP5, and I'm going to run that MP10 on Reef Crest, like 60%, 70%, and I'm going to put the other one on wave mode opposite end of the tank. So I'll always have the circulation varying from the Reef Crest with the wave opposite it.
right. So I basically have the Tunzi, which is back here. You can kind of see it. It's kind of hard to get in there. It just basically comes over the rock work. You can kind of see that little dome.
Mm-hmm.
So the pump, the motor and everything is pretty much hidden behind that rock. And then I have the regular nano stream, just AC version right there.
Okay.
And then my skimmer, little Tunzi skimmer, and the filtration is virtual, except for I have a.
Which Tunzi skimmer are you running? Are you running the?
It looks like a 9,000.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Which Tunzi skimmer are you running?
60-40 maybe. Or I don't know. Hold on. I can find out. Give me a second.
Is it the little magnetic one that hangs on the glass?
Yes.
Okay.
It's about 2 inches by 4 inches. Or is it 4 by 4?
No, it's more like 4 by 4.
That's the 9004.
Yeah.
And they have
Yeah,
an
that
AC
sounds...
or DC version.
Oh, look at that tank. Look at that tank. Oh, we got... Oh, there
Yep,
it is.
9004.
Yep, that's the DC.
So here's the tank that sump's going on.
Oh.
That's
and that's
steel?
the finished rock work?
What was that?
That's the finished rock work, or you're going to add that to it?
Nope, that's it.
Okay.
Is that the stacks, or is that something else?
So this is the Marco Premium Shelf Rock.
Ah, okay.
So what they did is the bottom of all the bottom is what he calls his premium cuts, where he just slices a piece of regular Marco rock so that they're flat.
Right.
So nothing can get underneath them. And then on top of that is just these Marco. It's a natural shelf rock that he's been getting.
Okay. So it's not Marco rock he sliced up.
It's not sliced up Marco. No, it comes naturally like this.
Right. It's almost like Tonga shelf, just not Tonga.
Yeah, but it's got way. I mean, you can see the pieces. There's way more character than a Tonga shelf rock.
Right. It's got a lot more, I don't know, definition, I guess, ledges and edges.
Yeah.
And...
Yeah.
One day I'll have a big tank like that.
Pretty cool stuff.
Maybe after
my shelf rock takes offense to the no character comment.
I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
It's okay. I had to make the joke.
So yeah, the tank is 66 inches front to back and side to side, and then 27 tall.
Jeez. Did you bleach or acid bath it, or no? It's all completely dry.
No, it's completely dry. I have no problem starting it dry.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all quarried rock. You'll be good with that.
Yeah, so it's not previously live.
I mean, most of mine, I did acid bath my Pucani. I only had like 5 or 6 big pieces, and then I probably should have done something with my giant shelf and then the branch, but I really didn't want to mess up that branch or anything with acid.
That's a nice aquascape. I really like it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like it too. I think it's got it looks like some places I've snorkeled before, like just that cool.
That's what I thought. I fed Joe Caparata from Unique Corals to come over here and aquascape it for me. So he did a fantastic job. Everything's all cemented together. And I think you're going to be seeing a little more of this type of rock work sprouting up real soon, because I know someone in Minnesota just did it.
Now, are you going to go bare bottom with it? Stay bare bottom with it?
You know, I'm going to start out bare bottom. I really got to judge how much flow I'm going to have in the tank. I can always add sand later.
Is that glass bottom, or does it have that liner in it?
No, it's a PVC bottom.
Okay.
The tank is a AGE, acrylic and glass exhibits out of Dallas. And they build
so it's
the hybrid
PVC bottom.
Right. So the bottom is PVC, and then they router it, and then they put this stainless steel trim around it. So literally, the bottom seals are sitting in a U.
Right.
The panels are all sitting in a U of silicone. I mean, it ain't leaking unless it goes through probably close to 3/4 of an inch of silicone, or no, I'm sorry, 1.5 inches of silicone.
Yeah, so, if I ever build another tank, that's how I'm going to end up doing it. Is just, I don't know if it'd be PVC or a wood bottom, but that same style where it's in a routed channel.
Yeah. It you know, here in California we want rigidity. So that's why, you know, having the stainless steel top and bottom frame, it's not going to twist. It doesn't flex at all. It, you know, we have earthquakes here, so you got to be prepared.
What's the thickness on that?
Of the glass?
Yeah.
1/2 inch.
Nice.
So.
Greg, that's a very ugly tank.
Shut up, Abhishek.
You know what I like what you do with that aquascape too is that it's not too tall and you got a lot of room to grow.
Right, and that's what I like. I never have liked really tall aquascapes. Eventually, the corals will get there. So.
See, I like it because you have a lot of sand bed room to put your lobos and acans and stuff like that, or empty floor space for them if you want to put them on the sand bed.
I'm sorry, I missed that. So it sounded a little choppy.
I said I like that you have a lot of open floor space.
Yes.
Where you can put your, or you know, whether it's bare or sand bed, where you can put lobos and acans and, or you know, like me, I have a smaller tank.
Oh yeah.
I'm newer. You know, I don't have anything big, so I can put my frag tiles. You know, in your size tank, you could even get away with a 4-inch disc on the bottom to let stuff grow out.
Yep.
And still be able to move it.
So, the new guy that checked in at the end, that's my friend Abhishek from Minnesota, and I told him about the show a little while back, and good to see that he chimed in.
Welcome, Abhishek.
Hey, hi.
Yes.
Yeah, Greg told me a lot about the show, so I thought I have never joined in a live show. I trust Greg with anything he says, so I said, "Why not?"
That's what Ryan from DRS said.
Well, he's got an amazing tank himself.
It's too reefy, so I trust anything he says.
Hey, Abhishek, are the tank lights still on?
Yes,
Can you show us some of the tank?
Yes, it is on a little. Just the T5s and the Reef Brights.
What size is your tank?
I think it's a 70-gallon. Yeah, it's a 70-gallon. So it's like 30 inches by 30 inches by 18. And it's, I think, all Acropodas, maybe a couple Monties.
You said 36 by 36 by 18?
30 by 30 by 18.
Okay, 30 by 30 by 18.
Yeah.
He's building a bigger tank, though. He's addicted.
Oh, yeah.
That's how it starts, and soon you're at a different level.
Yep.
Aren't we all? I mean, it's 10:48 Eastern, and we're talking about fish tanks on a live stream. So I think we're all addicted to something.
Hey,
yeah, we are.
You know, what's really funny is you say that, and like I'm looking at my computer, and I'm like, I'm supposed to be doing other work right now for this hobby. I just haven't been doing it. So, this is what I have been writing slowly here.
Bioluminescence. Oh, part 2.
Yeah.
Going to and from MACNA, like I had a bunch of equipment and I thought it'd be funny to tell TSA, they're like, where are you going? Like, hey, I'm going to a fish convention. I don't think that joke went over well. Like, I had a few pictures where, like, they were just looking at a skimmer I had in my carry-on. They were like, what's this? I'm like, it's a filter for a fish tank. And he's like, what does it do? Well, you know, I had a Red Dragon Speedy 3 and the pump for the skimmer, like, in my carry-on, and it didn't go over well. And I thought it would be funny, like, to say, hey, I just came from a fish convention. She looked at me and And while she was looking through the bag, I asked her, I said, hey, can I film what you're doing? She said, sure, go ahead. Don't film the computer screen, but it didn't go over well.
So you didn't get the sir. Can you please step aside?
Yeah, I'm like, I went to Las Vegas for a fish convention. She's like, you went to Las Vegas for a weekend for a fish convention. I don't believe you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't believe you. I should have said, like an aquarium conference. I think that would have gone over. It sounds more
Yes.
professional. But to say a fish convention, I think she's like eating fish. I'm like, no, like aquarium fish. I'm like, huh? Yeah. I'm never doing that again.
Hey, O.
Yes, sir.
Did you get the Polyp Labs? You ended up getting it, right? The
Yes,
Polyp Labs clip.
I bought it at Worldwide Corals.
Okay. Have you played with stacking the lenses like Billy was showing in his video?
I didn't. But did you? My little Worldwide Corals live stream that faded. Did you see what happened to me? Like after I put, because before, I was always using like the little flat,
right?
And what happened is after I borrowed the one from Worldwide Corals and was filming, when I gave it back to the guy and started filming with my little flat things, I was wondering why my camera wasn't working because I'm like, I can't see any gel filters. So there was actually a big difference between the Polyp Lab one and the little just flat pieces of like paper type things. So I just went back to the guy and said, hey, can I just buy that? But I have to play with stacking them. I saw Billy's video.
Yeah, and I was also told you can. It looks different based on if you stack them, which one is in front versus which one is in back. That also changes things too.
See?
So these colors are seeming to come out pretty close to what my eye is seeing.
And which one are you using now?
I'm using the macro lens on the forward, and then so the 20K is first, the 15K is after, and then the macro lens. So I have all three on.
So there's so the 20K. All right, hold on. Let me write this down. The 20K is first. The macro lens is first.
The macro lens is first. No, the macro lens is last.
Okay, so you have the 20K.
Right.
And that is is that the more yellow one or the blue? Which one is that?
That's the orange one.
Orange, 20K, orange.
Then it goes to the yellow one.
Yeah, then yellow, then macro.
The macro. So, right. I mean, because I wanted to take this, because this sackhand's pretty freaking incredible, and it's hard to catch because it's so close to the front glass.
Is it?
All right, so you know what? I'm gonna try that. I'll try it tomorrow.
That is a nice yan can.
Yeah, it is. It is a nice yan can.
Yeah, I got lucky on that one.
I think you use the word luck a lot. I got lucky on that one.
Well, I mean, that's the first Acan I ever bought.
And how long have you had it?
Since I think February or March.
As long as you've been in the hobby, you've never bought any. You never kept Acans, or you never bought one.
Someone gave me one, or John Warner from Warner Marine gave me an Acan, and it just sat on my sand in my old tank. I never did anything to it or anything. It was his. I didn't, it wasn't mine, so I didn't really pay it much mind. I was just holding it for him. But myself, yeah, I never bought an Acan, and it's a lot harder to pick them out and know that what they're gonna. I think now I kind of know what to look for when I go look at them now, but it's you still can come up with some duds for sure. I mean, because I think I paid the most for that orange one. And I think of the three, I bought all four at the same time. I paid the most for the orange one, and it's the ugliest one of the bunch. in my opinion.
I mean, I'll take it off your hands.
Well, I mean, I'm going to grow it out. I mean, we'll see. But, you know.
See, I just have trouble telling the difference between my acans and some favias and stuff like that. Because I have one that's a favia that looks like an acan.
Ah. Well, my favia is that one there. That's one of my favias. Yeah, that's one. And I have this other one right here.
Yeah, I've been getting into favias a little bit more. There's
I have one that
you got to be careful, man, because the sweepers on favias at night. This one has them all day, but a lot of them at night can really get some long ones.
Shaped kind of like that one on the front left you just showed.
This one.
Yeah, it's shaped more like that. To me, that looks like an acan almost.
So that's a favia. The smaller ones, when they have a smaller head, they're favites, but we still call them favias.
Right, but then you have some that, like that grows like a polyp, like an acan does.
Yeah.
But then you have some that grow more of like a almost encrusting.
Yes, I know which ones you're talking about.
Yeah,
and those are favias.
Yeah.
I was going to say, they kind of get broadly. There's like 4 of mine right there. Some of them have been growing like little weeds there. I got another little green guy up there.
Nice.
These little channel maze brains have been kind of interesting, though. That one there has been coloring up kind of nice.
What's the growth rate on like favias? Are they slow growers, fast growers, medium growers?
If you feed them, they will grow fast.
So
this one that was right here, that was one head back in March, and it's probably 6 or 7. It was just a single head. It's the fastest growing coral in my tank.
So
the only reason it used to be on the rocks, but it killed so many corals with its sweeper tentacles. I moved it down here, and the only thing it can touch is zoos and mushrooms, so it doesn't seem to be bothering them the same way.
When you feed them, what do you feed? You just feed normal frozen?
So I have Hikari mysis. That's the smaller breed of mysis. Right. And I also have the rods fish eggs.
Okay.
So I alternate between them. I also use the Reef Nutrition food. I have the Oyster Feast, Phyto Feast, Rhoda Feast, and the Roe.
Okay.
So the
fish
fish
I have
eggs.
the Reef Nutrition Oyster and Rhoda Feast.
Yeah.
And then I feed Hikari mysis and the Rod's original blend. Now, I do have, a few fish in that tank, so.
Right.
But I feed enough where there's a lot that floats around and gets stuck in corals, and usually I'll do is I'll turn off my filtration and just let my MP10 run and dump it in, dump most of it in there. I'll save a little bit to spot feed like my Lobos with.
Right. Well, one of the advantages of not running a lot of flow in your sump is that you ain't even got to turn it off. It's fine enough to leave running. Water doesn't go down very, very much. I think my return pump might be able to show you here. That's the rate it comes out.
Oh yeah.
I
don't even have a sump. So I'm running a sumpless tank right now, but I turn it off so it doesn't get sucked up in that.
That's like really low flow.
Yeah.
Through the sump. You don't. I mean, you're getting an abyss pump. You don't run a ton of.
I won't run it very high either.
What do you mean very like? What do you running
no
that thing
more
at
than
like
1,000 gallons an hour?
What size is your tank again?
250.
1,000 gallons per hour.
Okay.
That's not too bad. I figure my main return's only putting out about 4,000 to 5,000 gallons per hour through the sumps.
Right.
Well, but you have some people that preach that you need, 5 to or 10 to 15 times turnover on your sump.
Train says
Yes.
You know,
And I've seen that you don't.
I think that a lot of that stems from the fact that a long time ago, we really didn't have good flow pumps, and everybody relied more heavily on returns as
Right.
being their primary water flow. And then when people started doing closed loop and, starting to learn that different corals like different flows, it just, I don't know. I figure my tank's only running about 3 to 4 times an hour. It's turning over in the sumps, so. But I still think that's more than enough.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. The reason I look at it, I primarily use a protein skimmer for my filtration in every tank I use. I don't really run like algae filters or anything like that. And I just don't feel that in process. It's a waste.
I mean, if your skimmer only processes, I don't know, say 400 gallons an hour, but you're cycling 1,000 gallons an hour, you're still only skimming 400 gallons an hour.
Right.
Yeah, and that topic of over skimming comes up sometimes, and
no such thing.
Hey,
yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think if you were stripping your water bare to where you got zero everything, then maybe turn it back. But I don't know.
What happens when you do a water change with water that has no organics in it? Everything puffs up, right? It's no different. You can't overskim. Clean water is clean water.
What's happening with Tina? Is her RODI not working?
No, it's not, and I'm pissed the fuck off. Excuse my language.
Uh-oh. Mm-hmm. Watch out now.
Such violence.
I can't figure out what the issue is.
You just changed your canisters, didn't you, Tina?
I just changed everything out yesterday. It was running fine yesterday. Today, it doesn't want to run. I got no wastewater coming out, and it's barely dripping into the bucket.
So it sounds like the membrane is not processing then.
The membrane's only 6 months old. I shouldn't have to change it yet.
I didn't say you had to change it. It just sounds like it maybe it's blocked in that tube.
How can I tell if it's blocked? I just took it out and it looked fine.
Pull the tube before the membrane.
Yeah, when I had my aquatic, I've never had to do it with the DRS thing. But basically, when I'm checking, I just do a process of elimination. So the first thing I would do is the water coming in.
I already checked it. I've already checked the carbon. Those are both running full blast.
So right after the carbon, it's coming out after the carbon. It's coming out after the sediment full blast. It's coming out after the carbon full blast. So how is it coming out of? That means it's going into the membrane full blast. So how is it coming out of the membrane?
It's not coming out. It's not coming out of the membrane. I'm not getting any wastewater, and I'm getting just a little tiny drip inside of this bucket.
Wait, hold on. Hang on a second. So you said full blast going into the membrane, right? So when you disconnect the line going into the membrane, it's coming out full blast, right?
Yeah, yes, because it's coming from the carbon and going into the membrane. Yeah.
All right, so that's full blast. So
yes, sir.
So disconnect out of the membrane. Disconnect the lines coming out of the membrane and see which one is clogged and see which one is not running.
Well, one of them is the waste line, and then one of them, there's only one there, and I just did that, and it's same thing. It's barely dripping out of it. I just did that.
So that is the clean. So that's the clean water line. It's barely dripping, right? That green one. That's the clean water going to your DI.
The red is my wastewater.
Okay, wastewater is barely dripping. You said, right?
Yes, and I can usually hear it going down the pipe. That's why I know that something else was wrong.
and then you said good water. It's barely coming out of the good water line going into your DI, right?
Yeah.
So then there's something happening with the membrane then.
All right.
I don't know if it's clogged. I don't know if it's clogged. I don't know if it's clogged. Maybe because carbon signs got in it. But it looks like you basically like isolated the problem to the membrane. I don't know, how to troubleshoot an RODI system, beyond that. Like I just replace, when stuff gets like that is not working, I just replace it. What did you add yesterday when you said you changed stuff yesterday? Did you add a new membrane or did you add like
canisters? I changed my sediment, my carbon, and my deionization, whatever the heck that shit's resin. I didn't touch the membrane because I was told it didn't need to be changed. It's only 6 months old.
Yeah, but if you changed the carbon and there were fines in it and it got into it and blocked it, then that's probably why it's not working.
All right, I'll do membrane and see what happens. I guess that's my only choice.
All right. Alex.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Are you using the Polyp Lab thing too?
No, this is just the Aquari. Well, I don't know. It's the Aquari clip. I don't know I can't remember who made that one.
I think it's very similar.
You get to see the lovely red fluorescence of all the cyano that's on the rocks. I think I'm gonna change out one of my DIs tomorrow.
Is that a bubble tip right there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of the bright stuff, and then the Zoas are all looking good. It was weird though. I lost one zoanthid polyp. I don't know what the heck happened to it. It was doing good and then it just melted away one day. I'm like, well, that's weird. Nothing else is kind of affected, but oh well.
You lost one zoanthid polyp.
Yeah, like I had one little frag of Vamps and Drag, and it had two heads on it, and then like one just kind of disappeared, and the other one just melted away, and I was like, well, that's weird, like, because everything else has been doing good and growing. So I don't know. Maybe it was placement or something. I mean, it really wasn't far away from the rest of them, but I don't know. It's weird. I'll give you a top down of the Zoas.
Okay, when that.
I'll go and collect this carbon and see what happens.
When
Yeah. Well, what?
What did Tina say?
I think she said what?
Carbon, full blast.
Yeah.
I'm just going to run it for a minute.
What's the color of the water coming out of that carbon block? Is it clear, or is there any?
It's kind of hard to tell what's just going so fast.
Yeah, let it fill the bucket a little bit. See if there's any kind of like black or gray resin, because usually the new carbon block you gotta flush it first before you use it.
Yeah, I think
whiten it because it might be a little easier for me to tell. Because that resin is stuff.
Yeah, if it's doing it, you'll be able to tell pretty quick. You won't need to have much water come out of it.
But the thing is, she already put on a new carbon block, and then the stuff already went into the membrane.
She might have packed that membrane with carbon. She might have to open it up and clean the membrane.
Yeah, that's the thing. If it doesn't, there's no more to flush out of it. Yeah, that might be what happened.
Is there a way to clean the membrane? Like I've never heard of that.
Yes, if it's designed where you can open it up, yes, there's a way to clean it. Depending on how it's been built. Sometimes you can use chemicals, but I mean, if it's plugged with carbon, it might be as simple as crack it open and rinse it. Just to
I
flush
did
any
crack
parts.
it open and rinse it, and it didn't work.
You crack the RO?
The membrane, yeah.
Yeah.
The membrane itself. Nothing. I didn't see any carbon on it at all.
Okay.
What is your input PSI before your sediment?
And my water is running clear, so there's no dust in it at all.
Do you have a flush valve, Tina?
No.
A flow. You don't have a flow restrictor on your RODI system?
No, it didn't come with one.
Do you know what is your input PSI?
Pardon?
Do you know what is your input PSI going into your sediment?
No, I don't. It's all coming off of a well. I have no idea.
I'm gonna. Greg, are you still there? I think but you don't.
Yes, I'm still here.
I thought RODI systems worked off like that flow restrictor creating pressure. Like, how does?
Yeah.
I've never seen an RODI system without a flow restrictor.
I got it from DRS and it did not come with one.
If it was working before, I think it came with one. It may have gotten lost when you were changing things. Because there's got to be a flow restrictor, otherwise it would never work.
Yeah.
There'd be no back pressure.
Yeah, Tina. Like I think.
By flow restrictor, there's nothing attached to this that I'm supposed to mess with. It's just all
Tina, you can't say there's no like RODI systems need back pressure in order to function. Like, I'm not saying you took it off during this time, but I've never seen an RODI system work properly without a flow restrictor. Like, yeah.
Well, perhaps it's on here and I don't know, or I can't see it, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's like a little valve.
It's like a little piece of plastic, like a plastic ring. It's got a hole in the middle, and then there's a little thin little hose on it, usually.
Yeah, it'll be on the output of the waistline.
Right.
No,
So she takes.
I got tubes and connectors is all I see.
So it may have gotten lost in the shuffle somewhere.
Just showing you. This is my. It's not there. It's rusty, but I mean it's not that dirty.
But show the end on it again.
Let's see the end on it. That's dirty.
Yeah, that looks pretty dirty.
That's pretty. I've changed mine before, and it wasn't that dirty. It's not supposed to. Tina, that's not supposed to get that dirty. It's not like when you're changing this.
My water softener system. So why is it getting this dirty?
Wait, what did you say?
I said it's connected after my water softening system. So why is it getting this dirty? If these are supposed to last 2 years, why is it dirty like this then?
Wait,
if it ain't supposed to.
Wait, and it's supposed to last 2 years in optimal conditions, right? In optimal condition.
Okay.
In optimal condition. I've changed my sediment filter before, and it didn't look that dirty. Wait, hold on, Tina. Don't go ahead and throw a new one on yet. You haven't even figured out what was the problem with the old one. You haven't even figured out if your entire system. So I wouldn't recommend, let's say you throw that one on now and you haven't figured out the problem. You might go ahead and mess the new one up. So I wouldn't. You know what? You know what you do, Tina? You know what the best thing to do? If you bought that from BRS, BRS has people who are experts on these that know these things inside out. So my best bet to you is to call BRS tomorrow and kind of talk to them because they have people who know these systems inside out.
Great
Because
idea.
if you bought it
Yeah.
from them, like when I had a problem, when I was upgrading my system, like literally the guy on the phone was, it sounded like he wasn't even reading from a script. He sounds like he does this for in his sleep. Like he was telling me, like, hey, you're supposed to have blue. Do you notice the blue thing? Put your hand 6 inches down and just measure out roughly like a hand size. Clip that. Like the guy sounded like he was just telling me, like he could sleep. He could be sleeping and wake up and tell me how to troubleshoot this thing. So I
Right.
just think that's the best thing you should do. Like, don't put the new thing on, and just kind of put it back the way you had it, where it wasn't producing water, and just tell everyone, like, call them up tomorrow, and just tell them, like, hey, I changed all my things, like I changed my carbon block, this and this and this, and it's not working. But I'll tell you what happens, Tina. Like here in New York, I changed my carbon blocks because New York City water has a lot of sediments in it. I changed my sediment filter about every 2 to 3 months, maybe 4 months. I changed my carbon block like every 8 months, and I change my filter every 2 years. So it really depends. Like I know New York now, we're having a problem where we're getting seepage
Okay, well,
into
it's
our.
working fine without the sediment filter in it. It's working fine. The sediment filter is not in there, or whatever the membrane. It's not in there, and I've got water coming out both.
Yes, so that means the membrane is locked. But instead of me telling you, like just put your new membrane on and you could potentially mess it up. Just call BRS. And I also think like you should definitely have a flow restrictor on that. Like I've never seen an RODI system without a flow restrictor. Like it's like a little, like what a coupler is. Like when you want to.
Tina, go on BRS website and look up flow restrictor. You'll get a good picture of exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, I just sent a link actually in the chat.
Yeah. I would like her to run the RODI with no membrane and cartridges, so flush out all the tubes. Yeah, I think. Yeah, and also Tina, you're on well water, which, from what I understand from other people that are on well water, like that thing can really do damage to your cartridges.
Well, it's got a softener system on it.
Yeah, if the membrane's out and you're getting full water, then I think it's the thing. But BRS are the experts. If it's from them, they have lifetime warranties on a lot of this system. They know this stuff inside out, so they'll be the ones to help you. Like we're speculating, but BRS, they can do this in their sleep.
Yeah, I would agree. Is that especially if you're having all the issues, just give them a call and, like I said, they know their unit and I wouldn't do anything drastic. And
Yeah, I'm looking at the top of that now, and it says Coral Life on there. So maybe I didn't. I thought I know I got all my filters and stuff through BRS, but I don't know if they sold. I thought I got my unit from them as well. I may have to go through my books and stuff, but I see it on the top. It says Coral Life. Wouldn't it say Bulk Reef Supply?
Yes.
All right. Well, then I'm probably just gonna have to get a new unit.
And DeAndre is saying not all flow restrictors look like what BRS has. Yeah, that's because we were assuming that she got the unit from BRS, but now she's saying it's a Coralife unit.
I just happened to see the name on the top of the top of this housing. It says Coral Life on it.
Coralife RODI unit.
It's a 4-stage.
Okay.
yeah, I'd say that, or if you got a LFS that is good, you could always take it over to them, have them look at it.
It says usable with
It is usable with well water, or I wouldn't have bought it. And it told me I had to hook it up after my my saltwater system, and that's what it is. It's running through my saltwater system first, and then going through the RO. I gotta let that finish draining out before I could try this again. I'm just gonna replace this thing. The only thing is I think the one that came with BRS is taller.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the thing for this, and this thing is not pressure rated, so she can't use a booster pump. Yeah, it looks like there's no pressure. Okay, I mean,
So I probably need to get a new unit.
I'm not saying that. It's just that I have no experience with this unit. Like, I just always use the BRS units. And you know, even the Spectrapure units and the other units I've seen, they look very similar to the BRS units. I have no experience at all. I've never seen one of these in person, and you're the only person who I know that has this system. So I was telling you to call BRS because BRS supports their if they make the RODI system, they support it, but with this one, yeah, it's a little bit different.
Well,
all right, guys, it is 11:22, so I think I mean, we can stay in the chat and talk if you want to, but I think it's time for me to shut it down. Thank you, Abhishek, for joining. I hope you join next week.
Yes, I will definitely try.
All right. Alex, thank you for joining. Greg.
Thanks for having me, yo.
Always a pleasure.
I got to give you a call, sir. We need to catch up.
All right. Yeah, you know what? Yeah. Jeeves, I know Jeeves is working. Jeeves has a very important job, so that's why he's on mute. Tina, thank you for joining.
I'm here.
Everyone in the chat, Dave, Lisa for handing out the links. Call Me Nemo, K-Town Reefer, Unlucky Eddie, Dicanthus Reef, K-Town, AL, DeAndre. Hey, DeAndre, I'm going to be in Memphis October 23rd, so we got to connect. All right, man? I'm going to shoot you a text. I got your number. Jamie, I said DeAndre already. All the people that were in earlier, like Reef Keeper, thank you, everyone, for joining, and I'll see you guys next week. All right, good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Later, everyone.